Savaitgalio LKL rungtynių transliacijų rėmėjas Top Sport.
Sveiki, bičiuliai, dar vieną savaitę ir dar vienas mūsų dueto išstojimas. Visų pirma, Kristus prisikėlė, tikrai prisikėlė. Sveikinam visus su Velykom, su gražia švente, pavasaris jau ant nosies. Šiandien atvažiuodamas į studiją pagalvojau, kad jau yra tas pavasario, tas vaibas, jau lietus, melancholija, tai va šitas etapas turės dar šiek tiek trukt, mačiau, nes toksai
šią savaitę labai.
Toks oras, toks, žinai, depresovas, bet turėtų po to susitvarkyti, bet jau rodo, kad gamta bunda, tie ženklai yra. Pats kaip sutikai tas šventes?
Tradiciškai mes Uošvyjoje Velyką švenčiam, tai Birštonas Prienai, ten tarp tų dviejų mano tėvai atvažiuoja. Kalėdos pas mus dažniausiai, ten važiuojam, nes ten yra kur ir laukai, šiet ir skepta. Aišku, nebuvo labai šilta, bet vis nežinau, kaip tas lietuvis, ten plus 11 vėjas pučia, bet kepita šašlykai, nes visą žiemą laukia to. Tai vis smagiai pasibuvom, aišku, ant laikrodžio, nes dar Vilnių reikėjo važiuoti. Tai vis smagiai, o pats? Mačiau su šeiminė irgi.
Tradiciškai mes su šeima susitinkam, tai fainas. Su laiko tik pradedi suprasti tą kitą švenčių pusę, kad susitinki, kad neskiri laiko pakankamai, kiek turėtum skirti, kad nepaskambini dažniau. Visą tą tu jauti kartais, nes atrodo tiek daug praėjo, čia atrodo neseniai matėmės, o kai pradedi šnekėti, atrodo tiek daug buvo, dar nepaliesta, neaptarta. Tai tos šventės tikrai kitą reikšmę jisai turi. Šiaip toks, kada čia užvakar, gal taip atsikėliau ir tiesiog toks galvoju, plemba, ką aš darau? Va, ir tiesiog tokias mintis visą dieną, žinai. Dar biškis sirguliuodamas, bet man tiesiog buvo, ar aš ten esu, kur turiu būt, visi tie egzistenciniai dalykai. Ir toks atsiunčia, ten draugelis buvo prisiuntęs reelsus, atsidarau tos reelsus, ką mes čia darom, kokie dar reelsai, what the fuck, žinai. Tai su tokiom mintim pasitinku šitą savaitę, tai tikiuosi prasiblaškysiu.
Viskas bus gerai, duok ranką. Viskas gerai. Šiaip jo, kas liečia šeimą, tas kažkaip ir, žinai, tas su metais ateina. Aš taip etapais, turbūt, paauglystė buvo vienai, po to vyresnis dar kitaip jau studijos, po to pradeda tas appreciation ateit ir dabar vertint dar labiau detalės, kažkaip vis galvoju, buvau tėtį įsivežęs gimtadienio progai koncertą. Jo mėgiamos ten tokios grupės žiauriai fainai buvo, pasibom pirmą kartą dviese kažkur, žinai, ten po N metų, ten 3 dienas, žinai, pilnai. Tai buvo turbūt vienas nuostabiausių laikų kartu ir daug diskusijų. Mes laustiečiai, žinai, panašus, daug dalykų įdomus, istorija, geografija, žinai, panašiai. Mes ten sėdim, nežinom, googlinam, šnekam, žinai, liuką geriam. Tai labai nuostabu buvo, tai mama labai nori išsivežti, krepšinio fanę, tai Eurobasketą galvojau, bet nori kažkur, kad toliau būtų, kad tai būtų ir, žinai, tokios savaitės kelionė. Nes ten die hard krepšinio fanė yra, ten viską turi. Žalgiris Insider ir GO3 ten kažkaip prie naujo teliko, kai reikėjo viską prijungti, aš ten apšalęs buvau, Eurolygai įsipirkus, tai noriu mamą ir irgi pasidaryti tokia, žinai, proper time, žinai, ne, atvažiuoti, pabūt, pašnekėti, išvažiuoti, žinai, kartu kitokių emocijų patirti, žinai, nes, kaip sakyti, tas vertinimas dar labiau ateina, žinai, kad reikia to dėmesio ir jo įvairiapusiško reikia. Ir su tėčiu sakėm, kad reikia vėl varyti tos grupės konsą, nes tarp kitko po to konso aš pradėjau tos grupės klausyti. Sakė, net kažkaip pradžioje toks, žinai, buvo įsijungiau netyčia ir dar prieš konsą bandžiau klausyti. Aš galvoju, reikia nuvaryti, žinai, ne tiesiog lengva, žinau, kad ten tokio sunkesnio roko biški. Ir po to grįžus jungiu vieną iš gabalų, žiūriu kabiną visai tuk ir visą vasarą paklausiau, ten atsimenu tą 2-2 vasarą, čia buvo, kai Žalgiris į grupės pateko, tai toks savotiškai ten mano himnas gavos, važiuojant į rungtynės, ten tą dainą įsijungė. Tai vėl sakėm, reikia varyti vėl tos grupės koncą, tai vėsi kažkaip šį kartą jau varyčiau kaip, žinai, jau proper fan, nebe tiesiog žiūrovas. Tai va, tai jo, kažkaip.
Štai būna Padkastą, kai įsijungiu ten tvarkyti epizodą ir matau istoriją. Klausytų dainų, tai pas tave ten būna visa paletė.
Tai palauktų mano Spotify pamatytum. Man iškia sako, kad aš esu pats su didžiausia muzikinė beskonybė. Pas mane, žinau, paskutiniu metu kažkur mačiau, kas nerašė, jau ties senas, kai šiaip sau klausai muziką, pagal kurią kažkada tūsinai. Tai pas mane ten, žinau, yra Natolis, nežinau kodėl, prasisuka mašinai, ten wow, praeinu tokių. Nes Spotify, žinai, kai per seršą jungi, ten po to randomizerių metą, tai pas mane ten pamatytum, kas daros. YouTube'as daro Ramu yra.
Okay. Tvarkoj. Tai šiandien planas yra toks, mes aptarsim lietuviškus reikalus, turbūt didžiąją laiko dalį skirsim Vilniaus Žalgirio ir Kauno Žalgirio akistatoms, nepykit, bet vis tiek toks didžiausia ažiotaža buvo sukėlusios rungtynės ir automatiškai joms skirsim daugiau laiko. Ir šiandien svečiuose turėsim Maksą ir Paulių. Pakalbėsim apie tą Baltijos lygą, apie kurią mes čia vis šnekam. Vieni sutinka, kiti nesutinka. Tai va būtent su tos idėjos šalininkais, vienais galbūt netgi tų žmonių, kurie ir nori kurti tą lygą, tai pašnekėsim, kokie ir tie pliusai, minusai ir ko mums yra reikia iš viso mums tos visos lygos.
Man labai įdomu yra, nes labai daug, žinai, girdėjom abstrakcijų ir konkretumo mažai, žinai, skaičių, prasmės, naudos, finansų, nes mes šnekam, kad jo čia Sports Cube, jie šneka, Sports Cube čia paskaičiavo, kad čia verta, panašiai yra tikimybė parduoti, žinai, panašiai, bet man įdomu, žinai, ten koks Telšių Džiugas, pavyzdžiui, kokia jam nauda yra, žinai, finansinė, žais su ten, vien žodžiu, man įdomu, nes ten pasako Paulius, kad ir ta struktūra keitėsi, ten pradinė, pirminė, tai man labai įdomu, aš turiu daug klausimų, nes kol kas man tai toks ten yra idėja, kažkas paskaičiavo ir bandom visus įtikinti, bet gali pasirodyti gal Maksas su Jakeliu, kad aš bus labai opoziciškas, bet aš tiesiog labai noriu pačelendžinti, nes aš turiu mažai informacijos ir iš Lietuvos lygos perspektyvos nematau prasmės. Latviam, mestam, aš matau prasmės. Lietuviam, ypatingai dabartinė situacija, ką mes matom, aš nematau iš vis jokios prasmės ir dar iš fano pusės turiu savo tokį perspektyvų. Bet prieisim, tai ir antra dalis bus anglų kalba. Tai nepykit, bet nepriversim Maksimo šnekėti lietuviškai ar
rusiškai, kacapiškai irgi nešnekėsim.
Tai tikrai nešnekėsim ir nemanau, kad jis šneka, bet gal atveju. Ir Jakelio neversim vers, nes būtų labai geras pokalbis. Tai Pauliau, paklausk jo. Paulius Paulius išverčia ir mes atsakom. Tai nepykit, bus anglų kalba, bet
jau turim patirties?
Turim jo patirties.
Devensą kalbinom.
Jau tu turi, aš neturiu dar.
Tai va.
Bendrai Hugo Vedemono kalbinau, bet ten kontributoriam. Tai ten buvo negeriausias performances mano. Bet palaužėsim tuos liežuvius ir bus kažkoks kitoks biški pokalbis ir kaip sakoma, nebūtinai jau tai gimtąją kalbą, bet jeigu yra galimybė pašnekėti apie kažką plačiau, tai kodėlgi ne.
Tvarkoj, prieš šokiant į Žalgirių derbį, norim pasidžiaugti. Norim pasidžiaugti, kad mūsų rėmėjų ratas plečiasi, kad sulaukiam bendradarbiavimo visokių ir pasiūlymų ir tęsinių. Tai šiandien turim BRITE gėrimus, apie kuriuos jau ilgai buvom kalbėję, galvoję, jūs patys irgi tai matėt ir prekybos centruose, matėt kaip ir kolabino su žymiais žmonėms, su sportininkais.
Tai jo, tai gal aš tokia biškį istoriją papasakosiu, kažkada mano antra pusė jungė YouTube ryklius, pradėjo žiūrėti, ten senus, žinai, įrašus ir aš kažkaip vieną akim žiūrėjau, žinai, kitą, nes prieš tai, šiaip teliko nežiūriu, iš viso tai nebuvau matęs, bet jinai jungė vieną, pažiūrėjau antrą, trečią ir užmačiau šitą, matydavau tikrai kažkur, žinai, toks vaidenėsis, matytas prekinis ženklas. Bet pažiūrėjau taip detaliai, ta prasme, kiek yra žingsnių padaryta, kas kaip, o pas prieš metus nustojau kavą gert.
Aš jau tarp kitko žinau, gal treti metai be kavos.
Tai va, tai alternatyva visą laiką ateina toks energijos trūkumas, tai būdavo energetinis gėrimas. Ir toks savigraužo ateidavo, žinai, kad ką tu geri, tiek cukrus, taurinas, nesveika. Ir toks būdavo, kava bent sveikiau, bet, kava ten, nežodžiu, tiesiog gal gana, nes ten anxiety varo panašiai. Ir griauždavo save nuo širdžių. Tada pamačiau periklius BRITE. Ir galvoju, parašysiu. Ta prasme, parašiau, kad ačiū Hebra už fainą produktą, nes aš dabar jo numeris 1 vartotojas, nes geriu energetinį ir man nėra savigraužos, kad aš save nuodiju ar darau kažkokią žalą, nes yra visiškai natūralus ir sveikas energetinis. Ir kas yra esminis dalykas, tu, kai atsigeri, tu jauti, kad nėra to cukraus poskonio, žinai, kur praeitas atsigeri iš gaivių gėrimo ar kito energetinio ir tu jauti, kad atsigeri skonis ir lieka tas cukraus, žinai, per visą. O čia atsigeri jauti ir net keista, nėra taip saldu. Po to, pavyzdžiui, aš kai dabar jau nemažai laikau geriu jį, atsigeri, tu jau tą skonį labiau jauti, žinai, bet tau netrodo, kad kažko trūksta, žinai. Tai šitoj vietoj labai džiaugiuosi savo šito atradimu. Mano, pagrindinis dalykas. Jokių saldiklių, jokio cukraus, jokio taurino, žalios arbatos ekstraktas, guararana ekstraktas, natūralios sultis, kavos pupelės žaliosios. Natūralu, faina, o man kas didžiausias toks, žinai, kaip už brolį kartais jau džiaugia, žinai, lietuvių produktas, kuris toj, man atrodo, ir užsienio rinką žengs. Dėl šito bijau pameluot, bet tikrai žinau, kad kelias yra užsienis, tai dėl to dar džiaugiu, man vis laik kažkaip už lietuvius kūrenčius ir gebančius tai išplėtoti, čia yra širdžiai miela ir faina, tai va mano asmeniškai šitas skonis yra numeris 1, gali Deivi šitą uždėti. Tai skonių yra įvairiausių, tai čia mano mango ir pineapple, tai ananasų ir mango. Tau, Jaroslavai, dar galiu pasiūlyti lemon lime. Taip pat labai šiaip skanus man yra ir blood orange ir aviečių su mėta. Yra įvairių skoniai, tai tikrai visiems skoniam galima atsirinkti, kurio norėsite, kolega?
Blood orange gal pasiimsiu, bet kiek vėliau.
Tai pasidėkime, dar, kaip sakoma, velykiškai čin padarysim.
O, kokie šalti.
Jo, atšaldžiu viskas, kaip sakoma... Geras pateikimas, geras pateikimas irgi turi būti, yra svarbi gėrimo dalis. Tai va, tai parašiau, pasidarėm skambutį ir va, kaip sakai, šiek tiek turim to background, istorijos ir nuveiktų darbų, tai irgi sako, kamon, važiuojam, turim kelias testinės tinklalades, kaip važiuosim, tai va, kaip tik reklama sukasi, tai turim Padkastas kodą, su kurio britedrinks.com užsakant, bet kurios gėrimus gausi 25% nuolaidą. Ir čia toks mūsų tarpusavio ir yra įsivertinimas, kaip vat, mūsų auditorija reaguoja, kaip jiem įdomu, kaip jie bandosi, kaip jie ragauja. Tai užsisakykit, turėkit, apdalinkit šeimos narius ir pasimėginkit, tikrai, manau, patiks. Aš tapau visiškas šito produkto fanas ir džiaugiuosi ir jau ir antroji pusė, kaip sakoma, jau irgi sako, parveš nupirk ir uošviniai per šitą laikotarpį, kai buvom, tai labai nice. Tai va, tai naudokite skaudukų ir mėgaukite šituo smagių produktų. Biški, reikia. Suvilkite. Tai va, tai skanus Deivi. Ananasų, daviau mano skaniausias šitas ananasų. Tai va, tai labai džiaugiamės šitą partnerystę, turėsim ją ir tikiuosi, kad ilgai ir laimingai. Naudokite kodą dar kartą, Padkastas, britedrinks.com ir jeigu vėliau toliau narystė tęsis, kaip laik mūsų kontributoriam bus papildomų naudų iš šitos partnerystės. Apie tai šiek tiek vėliau kontributoriam mes minėję, bet turėsim įvairių konkursų su produkcija Contribui atstovams. Tada tęsiant apie tas partnerystės, jau čia kaip uždėrėjo, kaip tik vantų žodžiai, kaip atrodo, Deivis susėtinės. Viską yra ant perimas. Deivi, dabar perim. Tai va, tai Meeting Room Vilnius irgi čia teko gal per pažįstamą kontaktą šiek tiek pabendrauti, kad jiem būtų visai aktualu integruotis į mūsų tinklalaidės. Aš šiek tiek pasiūliau savo idėjų ir matymų. Turėjom gyvą sutikimą, tos idėjos patiko. Ir dabar turėsim irgi partnerystę ir jau reguliarią. Tai Meeting Room Vilnius, kas nežinot, ir sukūrė Vilniaus gatvėj. Tai pačioje miesto širdyje, Vilniaus gatvė 18, jeigu tiksliau. Tai kaip tik praeitą savaitę turėjom testinį vakarą su visais vyrukais, išskyrus Jarų, nes vargšas apsirgo ir negalėjo kramtyti. Tai aš, Mantas, Žydrūnas, Arūnas ir Ervinas pasidarėm, kaip sakyti, tokį... Negaliu pasakyti degustacinę vakarinę, tiesiog biškį meniu patikrinom, nes ne viską tikrai išragavom, meniu labai didelis, tai nusifilmavom ir vlogą, paleisime į kitą savaitę ir su šita partnerystė važiuosim. Tai iš esmės, ką reikia žinot, kad yra jau iš pavadinimo galima suprasti, apie ką šis restoranas yra. Tai yra apie aukščiausios kokybės mėsą, tai mėsa yra iš Argentinos ir teko ragauti ir pikaniją, ir išpjovą, ir steiką, ir galiu pasakyti, kokybė yra gera. Mantas, kadangi jau yra buvęs ne kartą ten, tai jisai, kaip sako, tik tais patvirtino, kad vyručiai aš jums sakiau, kai mes ragavom. Tai tikrai žiauriai kokybiškas maistas, žiauriai skanų, meniu platus, vieta labai jauki, bet, kaip pasakyti, nėra too fancy, kad tu kažkaip jaustumės ten keistai. Ten yra sava, aš kaip sakau, kai jie nėra sava, jauku, fainas baras, fainas kolektyvas. Man vis laik patinka, kai tose geresnėse vietose būna charizmatiški padavėjai ir personalas, labai, kurie net ir jeigu kažkokią klaidelę padarys, nežinau, net nešaukšto dar kažko, jie nebus jie, kad tiesiog taip, o dabar atsiprašau, jie kokį bairį dar numes ir tu, žinai, iš to nusijuoksi dar kažką. Tai tikrai nuostabus personalas, draugiškas, linksmas. Turėsim ir vieną mega projektą tenais, apie kurį papasakosim, manau, poros mėnesių, dar neviešinsim, bet jį gyvendinsim tenais pas juos Vilniaus gatvė 18, pas mūsų draugus. Tai visi, kas norit proper vakarienės, kokybiškos, su gerais užkandžiais, su gera mėsyte, geru aptarnavimu, kokteilių dar nespėjom išragauti, dar šitą palikom ateičiai. Tai tikrai kviečiam pas mūsų draugus ir tarp kitko šiandienos svečius irgi po viso filmavimo vešim pahaustinti į meeting roomą ir parodyt, kad turim gerų vietų. Ir čia vėlgi kontributoriai dėl šios mūsų partnerystės turės skirtinę galimybę. Tie, kas remia 10 eurų daugiau, kartą į mėnesį pralošim degustacinę vakarienę 2 žmonėm. Tai tikrai labai, manau, geras prizas. Ar su draugu, ar su drauge, ar tėti mamą atsivest. Tai junkitės į Contribui ir turėsite tą galimybę laimėti šį prizą. O kitiems siūlyčiau nueiti, apsilankyti ir, kas svarbiausia, kartu ir nepamiršti ir padaryti esminį dalyką. Google reviewsas arba TripAdvisor reviewsą palikta, pats irgi planuoju padaryti. O dar papildomą dalyką, ką nepasakiau, jie turi dar ir food trucką. Tai jeigu planuoja svajarė, pavyzdžiui, 30 praėjo, bet 31 artėja, tai gali įsikviesti food trucką su visais skaniais steikais, viskuo ir pasidaryti savo šventį. Tai ypatingai, kas turit įmonės ar didesnės šventės planuojatės, tai pilnai galit kreiptis į mūsų draugus ir tenais susiderinsit viską ir galėsit juos turėti mūsų šventį. Tai jeigu tiksliau visos informacijos galit ieškoti jų tinklapyje, tai biškai pastrigo kompiuteris, meetingroom.lt. Tai dar kartą kviečiam, kokteiliai skanus, maistas geras, o skaniai pavalgyti gyvenime. Man, pavyzdžiui, aš galiu rūbo nenuspirti, bet man skaniai pavalgyti. Man geros mėsos, gerą užkandį, krevetytę, man čia yra... Aš nuo vaikystės tą kažkaip turiu, kad skaniai pavalgyti. Čia yra. Nors neatrodo, žinai, bet tą mėgstu. Tai tai ačiū ir BRITE, ačiū ir meeting roomui, kad prisijungė prie mūsų. Kitą savaitę ir dar vieną partnerį skelbsim. Ir tikriausiai ir svečiuose turėsim. Tai fainas laikotarpis, džiugu, kad augam ir esam atpažįstami, tai žingsnių dar esame į priekį numatę, tai jeigu irgi turit idėjų, kaip norėtumėt partneriauti ir būti draugais mūsų, tai kreipkitės, rasim tikrai energijos taškų ir kaip integruotis ir geras kūrybiškas žmogus, aš kažkiek ir tikrai esam kaip integruotis. Tai tai ačiū draugam už tai, kad esat.
Šties puikios naujienos ir mum, ir mūsų rėmėjam, mūsų bendruomenės nariam, smagu ir juos palepinti ir smagu, kad rėmėjai irgi atsižvelgia į tai, kad mes turim jau, galima sakyti, tikrai rimtą bendruomenę ir su jie skaitomas yra. Gerai, šokam į Žalgirių derbį. Ilgai galvojau, ar spėsiu, ar išeis, neišeis, nes labai buvo sunku dėliotis tą laiką, ypač kai retai mataisi su šeima, tai visą laiką yra naujų temų, galvoju, bet kokiu atveju turiu biletą, išeis, tai išeis. Ir kažkaip žiūriu, kad jau ten 5, po 5 gal 15, jau kažkaip tas temos į pabaigą ir sakau, varau. Bet, kaip ir Tadas minėjo, biškis sirguliavau. Jau šiek tiek, jau liktais jau viskas, jau pasveikau, bet vis tiek buvau ganėtinai lengvai apsirengęs su savo to palteliu, su džempiriuku, kelnėm ir tokius, žinai, galvoju, atvarysiu, žinai, atvariau, viskas, šiaip, labai fainai, iš tikrųjų, ir atmosfera, ir koncertas, viskas labai super, ta prasme, ir su Deivi šnekėjom prieš filmavimą, kad, blemba, europinis lygis, žinai, tipo, visas match day experiences, gali nusipirkti, ką tau reikia, nuo mėsainio iki loaded fries, su aliuku, be aliuko, alkoholinis, ką tu tik nori, žinai. Ir labai faina buvo tiesiog matyti tas grupelės žmonių, kurie galbūt seniai nesimatė, arba kurie tiesiog, nežinau, valgo ir tiesiog turi tą experience prieš rungtynes. Dažnai tu visiškai tą matai, kad tai yra jau produktas. Tai labai smagu, kad su tuo mūšiu Vilnius išėjo į lauką ir tikėkime, kad oras lepins, kad nereiks šalt, nereiks po lietum lakstyti ir panašiai. Tai tas labai labai maloniai nustebino.
Čia turbūt ta vieta, kur labiausiai galima ir įsiplėsti, žinai, nes rungtynėm, aišku, irgi daug turi kaip pasakyti, įvairių kampų, kaip jos siklostėsi, bet jeigu kalbant apie tą dalyką, tai čia, žinai, diskutavo, man atrodo, kažkas pas viename šete, žinai, kaip būtų, jeigu nebūtų Andriaus Tapino, žinai, ir vat, tas Tado Brugailos atėjimas ir, tarkim, su Mindaugu direktorium, ar jis toks pats būtų, nes, jis irgi kaip toks perversmas, viską, bet vat, čia norėčiau atkreipdėmės, kiek, žinai, Andriaus Tapino korta yra šitoje vietoje big thing, nes per 5 namų rungtynės, jei neklystu, 16,5 tūkstančių apsilankė, tai vidutiniškai 3,2, 3,3, tai kol kas eina ta linkme, kad Andrius lažybas prieš Futbolas LT laimės, nepamenu, ką ten vyrukai turės daryti, kamuolis padavinėt, man atrodo, ne?
Neužfiksavau.
Tai kol kas eina ta linkme ir, kaip sakai, jeigu oras tikrai nekankins, tai tas ir įvyks. O visumoje aš pats atėjau irgi beveik valandą, 40 minučių prieš rungtynės, prigirbiau gėrimą, pamačiau Lukas palvėlėti, užlindau, truputį šnektelėm. Tai tarp kitko irgi atkeliaus pas mus svečius. Gegužės mėnesį, sutarėm, ateis papasakos. Įdomu, bus toks ir kepas prieš 5 metus pas mus buvo, žinai, prieš 4 gal labiau.
Pirmas
svečias realiai ir tas Padkastas kalbino tokia rubrika, dar turėjom pirmas svečias, kuris ten jo tos peržiūros pradžią nusprogo, po to dar Zizmaras, man atrodo, kur su Kisleku Padkastą turi. Ir su šituo...
Zimaitis.
Zizmaras.
Nuostabus vyras, linkėjimai Andriu.
Tai jisai dar pasakė, tai vienas įdomesnių interviu, ką jis klausė, tada dar kartą tas prasisuko lūpas, tai ten iki gal 15 ar 16 tūkstančių dakilo, tai tikrai nerealus interviu. Tai pažiūrėsim, kas keitės Luko gyvenime per tuos metus, kaip matėm Kauno City akademiją ir panašiai, sakė, beros tauriai žais, tai aš taip nesupratau, ten visai ne tik akademija, turbūt, jeigu turi ir...
Gal Šerno pavyzdžių?
Nežinau, bet, taip greitai iš karto, žinai, ir tauriai žais panašiai, reiškia, visiems tu turi surinktų grupių. Tai, nusipirkau gėrimą, sutikau Mindaugą, bet kadangi prieš rungtynės, žinau, kas laikis tempės, tai ten nekalbinau, tiesiog pasakiau, nuostabu, kas yra aplinkui ir džiugu už tai, kas vyksta Lietuvos futbole. Tai ir likus 40 minučių rungtynių man įeiti į sektorių reikėjo stovėti eilę. Nes jau buvo tiek daug žmonių, ta prasme, gerą valandą iki jau galima sakyti, turbūt buvo 2-3 tūkstančiai suėję, kai aš ėjau, tai jau buvo tribūnos gan pilnos ir dar buvo fanų zonų žmonių ir dar kai aš ėjo dar upės žmonių ir čia, žinai, gal ir skirčiau tą, kad kas man patiko, kad buvo toks palengva tas toks vyko, žinai, nes kai būna Europą, tai būna darbo diena, sueina ten vis laik, dar ir daugiau, ten 5 tūkstančiai ir ten visi lekia, žinai, rungtynės 7 dažniausiai, tai ten tribūnos rungtynių pradžių būna dar pusė užsipildžiusios. Ir dar ten, kaip ten daug aš nekėjau, kad pirma eilė ar antra turi sėdėti 20 minučių žiūrėti, kol suėdinėja žmonės. Tai va čia, kadangi va čia tas, žinai, domestic league dalykas, kad yra savaitgalis, ir tai šventinis, nešventinis, tai yra savaitgalis, ir tu prieš turi laiko atvažiuoti 1,5 valandos, 2 prieš. Ir tai išskaido visą tą, žinai, susigrūdimą, nes per Europą viskas vyksta, žinai, visur prieimo eilėje, prie baro eilėje, įeiti sektorių eilėje, o čia, žinai, viskas taip išsitempia ir, žinai, realiai viskas taip lengvai, gražiai ir sueina. Tai šitoj vietoj tas, jau tiesiog atsipalaidavimas, žinai, kad viskas vyksta, veiksmelis, barai, pramogos, žaidimai, kažką kalbina, kažką įteikinėja, be planų koncas, mūdas, nerealus ir aš gal ką išskirčiau, kad ir tie patys barai, žinai, tokie, tarkim, tas, kur už pietų 4 yra didžiulė palapinė, žinai, kol stovi eilė yra esi po stogu, žinai, ten suformuota eilė, kad stovi, po to išeini, žinai, taip. Tie barai irgi, žinai, su gan tokių pasirinkimų yra, kad, žinai, ir tokių šaltų sneksų, žinai, ten kybinas, sumuštinis, dar kažkas be riešutų čipsų. Faktas, su tempu visai galima pastembėti, aš tokį vardinsiu, kaip už baro sustovėjęs problemą, kad šitie daugiakartinės taros bokalai, jie labiau putoja negu tie paprasti. Ir yra bėda, kad tas alus lėčiau, dėl to tu turi biškį žaisti, ten palauk, pastatyti, kol nueis, o tuos vienkartinius jisai tiesiog bėga, kaip pirmokai mokykla. tai va čia tas yra, bet, čia turbūt, žinai, dar pridės šitą, kaip pasakyti, dalyką paspręsti barų ir viskas bus ok. Bet visumoje tai matos, kad ne tik padaryta, bet padaryta iš širdies, žinai, taip, ir tos barus, ir prie tų, kur apačioj yra barai, skėčiai sustatyti, kad jeigu lytų, kad tu stovi eilėj, ne po šituo, tai, viskas visumo iš esmės nerealu, ta garso sistema, biplanų koncas, narėstos tas vipas, ten jau ženklas, vienas vipas ten žaliai šviečia, ten nesupratau, ten kas jau ten patenka, bet, žiauriai, žinai, ir šitie dalykai, ir čia yra futbolas, vietinis futbolas, va čia yra tas smagiausia, kad ne ant europinio kažkokio ažiotažo, aišku, ant lietuviško ažiotažo, nes čia toks, kaip sakykim, didžiausias gal rivalry, kuris čia upcoming, bet visumoj, man smagiausia, kad yra vietinis čempionatas, kad yra mūsų. Ir vyksta toks dalykas, ir daug žinomų žmonių, daug visko, tai šitoje vietoje žemai galima galvą nulenkti per Žalgirio organizaciją, kad tuo klausimu jie šiai minutė atrodo nušuoliavę 7 mylių žingsnius ir bilietų pardavimai žiauriai dideli ir ne vien abonementai buvo, tai tas iš viso nuostabu, žinai, nes tu antrą kartą parduodi vietą. Ir kaip sakyt, tu surinkęs iš to žvėriško pinigų kiekio, kaip žvėriško, lietuviškos masės tikrai žvėriško. Tu vat ir gali organizuoti tas pramogas, grupę, sceną, ten tuos ferverkus išsprokstančius, kai jie ten, tai wow, toks.
Aš net nesitikėjau.
Nesitikėjau, ir ten Jaga taip irgi daro per visą galinę tą. Tai toks buvo buch ir jie taip gerai, ilgai gan stovi, taip palengva nueina. Bet ir matas daug kas nesitikėjo, nes kai storių žiūriu, tai pas visus tik kai jau iššovė, žinai, yra kur tik toks nueina. Tai kitą kartą jau turbūt visi filmuoja, žinai. Tai bet tu kai surinki iš tų rungtynių štai iš bilietus pinigus, tai tu tą sumą gali tam turiniui ir paskirti, žinai. Nežinau, kitą kartą matysi lietus, kiekvienos kėdės, žinai, padėsi po lietpaltį, kiekvienam žmogui, kad visien ateitų ir būtų. Tai ar galų gale, žinai, suinvestuoti, kad vėl nuvalyti kėdės, nes vėlgi papriešiu, buvo ir valoma, šveičiama, visi mediniai tie dalykai, viskas, kur buvo skylė sutvarkyta, tentai ištemti. Tai kaip pasakyti, tu kai turi biudžetą, tu gali reinvestuoti tą patirtį žmogui toliau, žinai, tualetų papildomą sustatyti ir panašiai.
Tai iš viso buvo 4644 žiūrovai, tai įspūdingas skaičius, Kaunas turės jau dabar vytis, tai ta irgi konkurencija tokia irgi labai smagi, kad netokia yra. Man aplamai, aš dar vieną kėlinį žiūrėjau gyvai, antrą kėlinį, labai sušalau iš tikro, bet per savo durną galvą, tai išsikviečiau taksą, grįžau namo, antrą kėlinį žiūrėjau iš namų. Tai dar buvau specialiai sukęs pasižiūrėti, kaip atrodė telike visas tas vaizdas, išėjimas, tai
aš ir žiūrėjau.
Atrodė įspūdingai, ta prasme, išėjimas, visur pilno žmonių, ta prasme, išeini, iššauna fejerverkai, tu praeini pro arką. Blemba, yra lygis, yra vaizdas, žmogus, kuris gal nesigaudo, įsijungia, blemba, čia visai, žinai, rimta.
Su arka dar reiks mums čia pradirbti, nes
kai kurie eina paliai.
Mačiau Matulę pro arką su Sabanu nepraėjo, pritrūko kantrybės dar išeit, bet kitur irgi ten dar ne taip blogiau buvo, nėra įpročio, bet jo visa ta visuma televizinė, tų kamerų, keičia tą visą, kaip pasakyti, net televizorių žiūrėjimą, nes kai buvau įsijungęs, tas net fonas, jisai
taip.
Buvo ten kažkiek ir Kauno fanų, ten ir būgnas buvo, ir tas irgi jautės tas toksai, žinai, miksas nebuvo, kad, kaip girdėjęs daugiau pietų ketvirtos, bet jautai, kad kažkoks dar ritmas yra, žinai. Ir tu žiūri pilna, foninis garsas, kur toks, čia, žinai, čia ir žiūrovin. Man labai įdomu, kokie reitingai bus. Galim lažintis. Aš
nemėgstu lažintis, bet
žinai, iš ko? Va. Iš vienos
nusiblyčint plaukus.
Pikanijos steiko. Iš vieno pikanijos steiko aš lažinos, kad bus daugiau nei 2,5 šėros. Tai tau lieka mažiau nei 2,5.
RTG tasai?
Šėras procentais. Dabar buvo Sūduva Kauno Žalgiris, buvo vienas.
Tai čia RTG.
Tai čia buvo labai didžiulis. Tai aš sakau, kad daugiau nei 2,5. Ne, sakau daugiau nei 3.
Ne, mažiau. Kad ir kaip norėtųsi, bet aš manau, kad mažiau.
Ačiū. Manau, bus tikrai.
Ne, tai aišku, su lygos vadovais aš išnekuosi.
Lygos vadovais. Ne, pamatysim. Aš valgysiu steiko, tu žiūrėsi mane.
Aš norėčiau, kad tai būtų. Aš tik būčiau už.
Bet aš neskau, pamiršau paminėti, kad tu užimokėsi. Čia irgi tas ar čia nėra tiesiog, kad...
Tai gerai. O tai kiek skainuoja? Partizer? Koks?
Nežinau, pikanija.
Pikanija.
Čia labai sparagausim.
Tai bus proga.
Tai, kiek kainuos iš čia dar problemos. Bet aš manau, kad sekmadienio vakaras...
Šiaip viskas sukrito idealiai.
Ir, prieš komunikaciją ten jau nežinau, man gal kaip Vilniečių, bet jau visur mačiau ir biplanus ir viską ir tiek jau net mieste tų reklamų, ta prasme.
Nu, tai biplanai teleka neišėjo.
Kaip skai?
Biplanai tai teleka neišėjo.
Ne, bet turiu minį bendrai, kad komunikacijos apie tas rungtynės.
Nu, taip. Dar plus dadėkim tą, kad buvo Delfis atvažiavęs, darė pregėjimą. Kas vyksta fanų zonoje, vaikščiojo žurnalistė, kalbino, kas irgi yra fainai. Tipo, nu, didelis kanalas. Galbūt aš niekada to nematęs. Jis ateina, pakalbina, ten ir Erika Mališauską pakalbina paprastus fanus, pasidomi, parodo, kas vyksta. Linas Jocius taip pat buvo davęs savo minčių.
Okay.
Tai fainai irgi toks dalykas prideda to būsto. Mačiau šiaip tikrai nemažai bičiulių prisijungusių prie pietų ketvirtosios, ėjo eisenoje, tai irgi atrodė įspūdingai. Mačiau tos nuotraukos irgi, nu, kinematografiškos. Tokios, kaip prieš kelis metus mes žiūrėdavom ten, žinai, prieš 25 metus va taip buvo, žinai. Tai aš žiūriu ir galvoju, blemba, nu, labai aukštas lygis. Eina, skanduoja, palaiko, tai visas miestas girdi, žino, supranta, tai...
Jo,
ir palaikymas, dar kartą pasakysiu, ten pietų 4, nu, nerealus ir tifo labai fainas.
Jo.
Su Kaunu ir tuo žaliu šituo pledu. Jis tikrai taip vadinasi. Ir netgi ir po to jau ten, kai ir 0-1, 0-2, tas 0-3 palaikymas vis tiek buvo labai aukštam lygiui. Ir ten viduje mačiau ir ten vis, aš nežinau, kaip tie tiksliai vadinasi, jie ne fire, bet jie tokie, kur blyčinasi.
Strobai.
Va, strobai. Ir jie tokie vis pasikuria. Nu, visai kitas vaizdas, ta prasme, be galo smagu matyti, kaip žiūrovui, kaip futbolo žmogui, kaifas.
Tai žinai, apie pietų ketvirtos visą kūriamus dalykus, žinai, jau daug metų šnekam, dabar atėjo metas, kai daug daugiau žmonių apie tai sužinos ir pamatys, žinai, kiek yra kūrybos, kiek yra idėjų, kiek yra darbo įdedama ir širdies į tai, kad klubas būtų matomas. Tai šitoj vietoj, jo, palaikymas neslopo, aš manau, kad, žinai, daug kas supranta, kad prieš pusę metų buvo neaišku, ar klubas, žinai, kaip gyvos toliau, o prieš 9 mėnesius buvo po tvirtų padu klubas su iš vis be vizijos kaip išėjai, tai manau, kad tie tikrai fanai supranta, kad čia yra procesas, žinai, ir jisai truks, nes atėjo nauja valdžia, atėjo nauji žmonės ir vis tie dalykai turi susistiguoti, žinai, net paimkim tą patį Kauno Žalgirių palyginimui. Man tas Kelnietis ne pirmą sezoną, čia yra ketvirtas gal. Tai irgi tas procesas iki titulo, iki visko, jis buvo ir buvo sezonų, kur norėjo turbūt plaukus rautis, kur ten, žinai, 4 vieta, tauriai pusmalį pralaimėta, bet procesas, ta prasme, tu dirbi, mokais iš klaidų, stiguojas, testuoji. Tai irgi turėjo sezoną, kur 3 trenerius pakeitė, žinai, kur ten jau riterių vaibą, žinai, net pasiekė. Tai ir aš manau, kad ir pietų ketvirtas supranta, kad dabar tai yra procesas ir klubas irgi, manau, viską mato ir supranta, tai žinai. Bet man dar kas įstrigo net apšvietimas, ar įtvarkė ar ne, bet antram kėlinė buvai. Tos lempos nėra taip ryškiai švietusios, arba aš dar tada neėjau futbolą. Prasme, tu pažiūri lempą ir po to negali rungtynį žiūrėti, nes jis ten vienoj pusėje, kur buvo tos arčiau gatvės, tos dvi, tai ten visos praktiškai švietė, o kairėje šiek tiek mažiau biški. Bet, nu, belia kaip šviesu, per šviesu, net jau, žinai, kur nepratęs, žiauriai buvo šviesu, tai net ir tą turbūt sutvarkė, žinai. Tai...
Tada buvo geras įsijung garsas, aš suprantu, kad...
Kokį garsą?
Discordo garsas čia.
Ai.
Čia mūsų bendruomenė kažkas dabar bendrauja ir tau visą laiką visi išmeta jį.
Aš tai negirdžiu.
Tu negirdi?
Ne.
Aš tai girdžiu,
Gerai.
Bet pas mane garsas išjungtas kompo, tai...
Išjungiau dabar, bet aš negirdėjau, aš tai žinau, ten...
Buvo. Man dar, žinai, šalia mane sėdėjo irgi tokių žmonių, kur matas, kad pirmą kartą gal atėjo, arba po ilgo laiko atėjo į tą stadioną. O kurie čia Vilniečiai, ten, žinai, nu tai tie, nu va tas, tai ten, žinai, va 8 arba ten 10, nu oi, koks geras. Tai irgi, žinai, kaip nesuksi, kad tas žmogus vis dažniau ateitų į stadioną, reikės tų rezultatų, kaip nesuksi, bet aš manau, vien tik ta patirtis, kuri buvo, tai tikrai turėtų atsverti labai, labai nemažai. Man vėliau buvo klausimas, kad užvartį buvo ten, kur buvo ta zona, anapus pietų ketvirtosios, ta tokia, kur vyko tas Delfi kalbinimas.
Ai, nu tai to ant tos futbolo aikštelės.
Jo, ten tikrai nemažai žmonių buvo, toks galvoju, blema, nu pasižiūrėjau, buvo vietų, kur prisės, bet aš galvoju...
Ten įdomiausia buvo, kai rungtynės prasidėjo, žmonės eina ir arba vietos yra kažkur aukštai ir ten viena per vidurį, žinai, tai visi eina ir visi matai, kad į užvardą eina, nes nebėra realiai, kur ten buvo, bet tu turi brautis ten, žinai, ir eiti, žinai, kito, tai daug kas gal pasiliko ir ten stovėti, žinai.
Nes mačiau, kad stovėjo žmonės, tiesiog
stovėjo. Bet per Europą visą laiką stovi ten, žinai, kaip sakoma, kai kurie gal tiesiog ir taip jaučia rungtynės ir panašiai, bet jau buvo tas, kad žmonės eina ir taip, vietų nėra. Ir pastebėjau po pirmo kėlinio, kad tikrai neminė išėjo iš vietų, nes daug kas turbūt bijojo prarasti vietas, nes aš taip atsistoju, galvoju, čia bus eilės. Ir nuėjau į užvartės barą, nes ten mažiau žmonių. Ir žiūrėjau, kad nėra čia tų žmonių, nedaug ir grįžtų daug kas sėdi, tai žinai, arba pasiuntė pasiuntinius, turbūt, žinai, išsivaskinę, bet vietą saugo ten labai. Tai čia tokia, žinai, iš šio sezono ir diskomfortas, bet iš kitos pusės tai skatina ateik anksčiau į tribūną, atsisės 20 minučių prieš, reiškia, ateik anksčiau rungtynės. Per ilgai irgi išsiųs kažką vieną, o ne visi 3, nes, žinai, gal galia išeina 3, tai viskas lėčiau vyksta, žinai. Suojimas, susėdimas, išsiunti vieną, jis ten, žinai, grįžtų 2 lagaminais ir panašiai. Tai aš matau tame pliusą, žinai, ir šitoj vietoj biški skatins taip viską planuot labiau, žinai, nes kai vietas yra vis taip ramiau, čia dabar, žinai, kova už buvį biški, iš kur žiūrėti rungtynės ir panašiai, tai šitoj vietoj nauja patirtis, žinai, ir nauja patirtis yra ir daugumai fanų, kurie anksčiau vis laikėdavo, žinai. Nu, tarkim, po rungtynių vakar ten stovint su draugais, tu, negali išeit, nes tiesiog eilės išeit, kur anksčiau, žinai, ten kol komandai padėkoji, tai ten laisvi takai. O tu stovi, nes laukia tiesiog iš abiejų pusių užsikimšė šitie žmonės, tai šitoj vietoj tokie nauji iššūkiai ir kaip vienas draugas sakė, šiais metais daug dalykų vyksta, kas anksčiau nevyko, žinai, su šituo stadionu, tai daug naujovių. O tai, nežinau, dar turbūt esminis dalykas oras sukrito, pažiūrėjau tą savaitę, kai žaisų banga yra labai šilta, +20, +19, tai irgi, manau, kad penktadienio vakarą ten 8 tikrai su tokia pat didžiulė komunikacija, lygiai taip pat spėčiau gali 4000 suėti. Jeigu tik gerai išsikomunikuos, oras geras, Vilniuje yra, netoli milijonų turbūt su...
Aš manau, kad jau seniai mes esam peržengę tą milijoną.
Jo, su visais registruotais, neregistruotais, Karasnės, kas tu galvoji, registruotas čia?
Geras klausimas.
100% Marijampolė mokesčius moka. Tai tokių yra daug žmonių ir aš manau, kad surink 5000, ką rodo, tai reikia komunikuoti ir dirbti ties to, ir tada tu gali. Tai aš su banga spėčiau net ir neimant varžovo vardo, bet viso tą vaibą, kurį sukūrė žmonės, dėl jo net norės grįžti. Nesmagu, faina, viskas cool, žinai. Ten gal jo mažiau vaikų ateis, nes rungtynės baigsis vėlai, bet manau tikrai, kad tarp 3-4 tūkstančių ateis vėl.
Jo, reikia tikėtis, kad taip ir bus. Kalbant apie patį futbolą, šiaip labai daug dėmesio skiriam būtent užklausyti.
Iš esmės.
Viskas okei, nes ir mūsų svečiai jau neužilgo atvyks, tai reikia dar...
Rimtų už 8 minučių?
Kažkur tais. Tai pabandysim dabar suspaustai pakalbėti. Aš manau, kad kas buvo stadione, kas žiūrėjo rungtynės, turėjo palikti gerą įspūdį. Tikrai pirmas kėlinys, sakyčiau, tikrai geriausias, ką mačiau aplamai šitą sezoną. So far. Agresyvus, gan atviras futbolas, 4 minutė Kaunas turėjo progą, jau po kelių akimirkų Šešplukis pramušė ir pradžiai galbūt buvo neaišku, kas išsiryškina, tada Kaunas perėmė iniciatyvą, pradėjo labai dirbti flangai ir va tada pasimatė, kad labai aukštą lygą turi legionierius Kaunas, Aurega, koks protingas žaidėjas. Taip, 33 anosias bus. Ta prasme, koks protingas žaidėjas ir va tas ir buvo...
O įvarčio situaciją matė, kaip vis Sabą išmaudė.
Visiškai, va čia yra ta patirtis.
Vieną žingsnį ten dar, kaip ir išmaudė, bet ir Sabą kažkodėl pasižiūrėjo.
Jo, jis nežinojo, kad kamuolys keliaus.
Ant to judesio kažkaip, atrodo, nepasigavo, bet staiga pradėjo į kairę. Nebėgo su jo, o metęs biškį į kairę. Aš nelabai supratau to veiksmą.
Bet reikia atsiminti, kad ir Sabą kaip gynėjas nėra turbūt jo sakykime, puolime jisai daug ryškesnis.
Taip, bet esmė, kad tenais buvo biški ir Orega išmaudė ant to judesio, bet ir pas kažką dar po to judesio sugalvojo mestis bėgti kairę, o tada grįžti, o Orega tiesiog pro dešinę gražiai išlindo, tai vietoj to, kad bėgtų šalia ir bandytų ten užkišinėti tą perdamą, jis kažkaip metęs ten ir Orega realiai ten Šarkauskas buvo paliktas su šaudimui. Tai Vilniaus Žalgiris ką tikrai vieną dalyką, tai atėjo su didžiuliu noru, energija kovoti ir įrodyti, kad gali žaisti, tas ir kūrės, ir matęs, kad tų pusprogių buvo, bet apie Kauno Žalgirio kūriamas atakas ir jų lengvumą susikuriant ir jų aštrumą, tai, pažiūrėk, 4 minutę užkersavo, kai kamuolį.
Jo, tai čia buvo vienas pavojingiausių.
Atrodo, va, čia kažką bėgiojo, Vilniaus Žalgiris spaudžia.
Bet ką mes ir kalbėjom.
Skersas, realiai ten tik reikėjo kažkam kojytį įkišti ir viskas. Tada Ribeiro smūgis vėl. Krašte pasimetė į tolimą į kampą, tokį pat kitoj pusėje, po to mušį įvartį. Ir va ta, žinai, kaip pasakyt, kaip sako, žinai, pirmam kėliny Žalgiris, žinai, davė kovos ir viską. Jo, bet kokiu sudėtingumu vyko vienai komandai ir kitai, žinai. Tai va tas esminis dalykas yra, kad gal jo Vilniaus Žalgiris būtų įmušęs, kitaip ta rungtynių tekmė būtų eis. Bet, aš manau, kad visiems vakar Kauno Žalgiris tą meistriškumą parodė labai stipriai ir ta klasė puolimo trio Benčaibas, Ribeiro ir Orega yra kažkas tokio. Tai realiai vakar visi 3 ir susimušė, ne? Jo, Benčaibas, Orega.
Jo, bet va čia ir parodo, kad, ką ir kalbėjau, kad jie neturi to vieno puolėjo ir jie visą laiką keitė pozicijas. Ribeiro iš viso, nuo pirmo lietimo jisai suprato, kad čia jo grajus. Jisai, kaip jisai suko to kamuolį, kaip jisai pradėjo klynus tikrinti visų, kaip jisai pradėjo jaustis laisvai aikštėj, man paliko be galo gerą įspūdį. Ir va tada jisai iš vieno flango į kitą, Benčaibas liktais 10, 9 atsitraukė, taip, burba tada į polimą ir jie visi 4 rotavosi. Ir čia buvo iš tikro ir stiprybė, ir silpnybė, nes vis tiek to puolėjo tikro 9 reikia, bet, tarsi, kokia didelė ir aukšta kokybė yra šių Kauno Žalgirio atakuojančių žaidėjų. Ir kitas dalykas, patikimumas gynyboje. Tolardava ir Hernandesas, vis tiek, ta prasme, kad tau nereikia sukti galvos, kad žinai, kad ten susitvarkys, žinai, kad puolimas sutvarkys, vidury jo iškrito Gratas, atėjo Leketas. Leketas, kuris draugiškose pasiruošime jau buvo bandytas atramoj. Ir jisai jam nebuvo šoko, žinai, ir aišku, jis prieš tai dar kažkada žaidės karjerui, bet jisai jau žinojo, kad aš žaisiu šeštu.
Šiaip, kai tu turi aplink tie gerų žaidėjų, kartais, žinai, jie tave padaro geresniu. Apie Ribeiro kalbant, prisiminkim, prieš 4 metus žaidė Telšių Džiugę ir pirmas Džiugo pardavimas buvo istorijoje. Tai
10 000, man atrodo.
Martino Armalio surastas žaidėjas.
O įdomu, procentą gauna ar ne?
Neįsivaizduoju, bet po to Hegelmanai pasiėmė ir sušvitėjo, dabar Kauno Žalgiris dar labiau švyti to viso aplinkoje.
Ir atrodytų 30 irgi vieneri, 32.
Branda ir su gera kompanija, gera aplinkoje.
Ir atsim tada, kai mes nubreikinom tą informaciją, daugelis skeptiškai žiūrėjo, kad 30 čia vieni, čia ką, čia pas čempionus ant suolo, bet čia iš tikrųjų buvo idealus variantas. Žaidėjas, kuris žino lygą, adaptavęsis, ko tau reikia, žinai, dar 2-3 sezonus tokiam lygis drąsiai galės. Plus nėra linkęs į traumas, kas yra šiaip irgi pastebėti.
Labai svarbus dalykas. Šiaip žiūrint į Kauno Žalgirį vakar, tai man piešės taip, kad prie gerų burtų gali Europai patriukšmauti. Žinai, čia aišku, rungtynių, bet iš esmės vakar antroji pusė, ypač po antro įvarčio, toks, kur visiškas nokautas buvo Vilniaus Žalgiriui. Pirmas buvo knockdownas, tas praleistas 403, o antras jau buvo visiškas nokautas, po kurio koncentracija matos pametė.
Tai seniai, antram kėliny 18 sekundė, tik švilpukas nuskambėjo.
Ateini, išeini,
taip.
Dabar
ir aš kažkaip ir aš viduje tikėjausi, kad Vilnius išeis ir įmuš, ir va tada vėl viskas, žinai, tas tęsis degimas. Išsižaidė kamuolį, vidury pralaimėta dvikova. Jau Benčaibas stojo prieš Šarkauską.
Iš 4 metrų muša lengvai savo kairę koją. Ir, žinai, dabar taip pajuokaujant Vilniaus Žalgiris pasiėmė psichologą, tai čia jam darba bus. Nes realiai iš esmės mental thing čia buvo, žinai. Tas pirmas įvartis.
Taip, visiškai.
Gerai, tai pirmas dalis buvo į rūbinę, tu dar to nepajusi, bet galimai tas išėjimas pradžiai buvo pirmo padariniai ir antras, irgi po to tiesiog žaidėjai be koncentracijos, teisėra irgi išėjęs varos į kampą, nieko nesigaus, atsisuko, paduoda kamuolį bet kur, tiesiog burba ateina pasiema.
Labai prastai.
Tai iš esmės, tai čia, žinai, po to Žalgiris kokį 30 minučių tokioj koncentracijos tokoj buvo, kad tu matai, kad jie nebe tokie, jie daro tą patį lyg ir bėga, bet nieks nebesigauna taip, kaip gaunas pirmam kėliny, nes kažkur yra jau išskridę ir pasąmonė turbūt varsto, kodėl yra 0-2, mes gerai pradėjom viską. Tai čia yra mental thing, žinai, o Kauno Žalgiris, tai iš esmės, man labai patiko Manto Kalniečio ta mintis apie, kad šita komanda turi būti fun to watch. Ir aš manau, kad jiem labai pavyksta ta prasme, kad tai yra komanda, kuria yra įdomu žiūrėti. Jie dar progų turėjo tikrai 1, 2, 3, kur galėjo tikrai susimušt. Ir tikrai kaip jie žaidžia, kaip jie išeina į spaudimo. 2, 3 perdavimais jie iš 4-5 Žalgirio žaidėjų spaudimo išeina jau jie greitojo atakui. kulniukais ištraukinėjo nuo šonių linijų, nu ten kažkas tokio yra, tas visas žaidimas, kaip jis vyksta, tai sakau, jeigu nebus traumų, jeigu burtai pasiseks, aš, sakyčiau, tikrai gali patriukšmauti ir jeigu praeis pirmą etapą, tai turi tos 3 šansus, jeigu nepraeis kryžemyn ir kaip RFS irgi yra patekęs į grupės per ne Champions PEF, tikrai irgi yra įmanoma, tai reikia pripažinti, kad Kauno Žalgiris turi daugiau skirtumą darančių žaidėjų, ko neturi Vilniaus Žalgiris, ką Andrius Tapinas savo tam trumpam Rilse po rungtynių Transinvest pabrėžė, kad nebuvo tas transferų langas tokio, kokio norėjom, neradom daug ir dar ieškom. Man tas pripažinimas patiko šiaip, žinai, nes prieš tai būtume girdėję, žinai, kad su sena valdžia ten viskas visi kalti. Ir ieškoma ir bus stiprinimas tik, tas transferų langas, kaip pasakyti, nepavyko dabar. Laisvų agentų teks ieškoti arba lauk vasaros. Bet labai trūksta Žalgiriui Vilniaus skirtumą darančių žaidėjų.
Tai Kaunas, ta prasme, dar ne tai, kad jie aukštos kokybės žaidėjai, jie susižaidė.
Iš pernai.
Plus dar prisijungę žaidėjai, prieš kuriuos jie žaidė. Tarsi,
Karašymą, Kauneks.
Burba, ta prasme, tu visus jauti, žinai, tipo nėra to tokio, kad tu ateini ir, Jėzu, kaip čia mes dabar gyvensim. Ne, tu esi tiesiog, tipo, įmestas labai geroje terpiai. Kas man patiko, Marius Babravičius vakar komentavo, ir tikrai šiaip smagus duetas buvo su Karoliu Tretjaku. Jis paminėjo vieną įdomų faktą, kad Vilniaus Žalgiris pirmauja pagal spaudimo varžovų aikštės pusėj. Tai va, ir tas iš tikrųjų jautėsi pirmam kėlinį ir matus, kad patys Vilniečiai, kai pamatė pilną stadioną, skanduotės, atmosferą, jie patys užsidegė ir va tas jų bandymas visą laiką smaugti.
Matėte video, kur, kad pertraukiu, kur kėlė Žalgiris, kur treniruotės pradžiai buvo per ekraną jungtos skanduotės, paleistas garsas ir prieš po to Džiaukštas kalbėjo, tai nutildė, bet pradžiai toks buvo, kur žaidėjus filmuoja, fonį girdis, kad per ekraną rodo kažką, žaidėjus filmuoja, tai biškilinguoja, toks savotiškas, gal žinai, ką šiaip reiktų Žalgiriui daryti per treniruotės, to garsu būtų, nes iš esmės tu turi biški, gal jau pabiški pranta, bet tai irgi yra neįprastas toks dalykas žaisti prie 3-4 tūkstančių, prie atmosferos tokios čia, tu turi irgi, žinai, įpras prie to. Bet tas Žalgirio spaudimas jis irgi prieš tai buvo, bet mes ir su draugais keliai šnekėjom, kad neužtenka spaust, reikia užaštrinti. Ir va čia yra ta problema, kur su visa pagarba Levi Antaliui, pagrindinis puolėjas 36 metų veteranas, kuri keičia žaidėjas, kuris pernai kryžminius buvo pametęs. Ir tu gali būti komanda, kuri nori pulti, bet jeigu tu neturi tam įrankių tinkamų ir neformoj esantį teisėrą ir Michailovičių, kuris atrodo tik nežaidžia startė, jo kūno kalba iš karto yra, kad koks aš nepatenkintas žmogus. Ir Golubicka neformoj ir žiūrėk, nėra pas tave, kas galėtų ant to 16 metrų linijos daryti skirtumą. Tu ant ten gali spaust valio, bet kas iš to? Saba pramuš kažką, ten Kendišas bandė, realiai iš tokių progų, tai Saba iš štangą pataikė, į virpstą.
Šešplaukius virš vartų. Ten atrodė kartais geros progos, tik reikėjo kantrybės. Nes atsiminkim tą langą, kurį turėjo Vilniečiai 30-40 minučių, tas 10 minučių, kur kažkodėl kauniečiai trūks plyš, įžaidinėsim kamuolį nuo vartininko apačią. Ir tada tas spaudimas ir suveikė. Ir jeigu tada būtų Vilniečiai išnaudoję tą vieną bent jau progą, iš tų sukurtų gal 3 ar 4 per tą laikotarpį buvo, ten galėjo visiškai pasikeisti tas žaidimas. Nes po to kontra gavosi, įvartis, pertrauka. Aš manau, kad Eivinas tikrai padėliojo, kad žiūrėkit taip ir taip. Gal Vilniečiai, aš nesakau, kad Džiaukštas nedėliojo, aišku, ir jis dėliojo, bet aš manau, kad su tokia komanda, brandžia komanda, kartais tiesiog reikia priminti, kaip mes žaidžiam ir jie tada atsimena, žinai. Nes, aš ir galvoju, kada kristas įvartis, nes, labai smagiai tas spaudimas veikia.
Tas arčiausiai turbūt buvo tas įvirpsta, kur gynėjas dar lietė ir tada įskirsinės prieš mane virpsta. Tai, o matėjai šiaip, kokiu stipriu kontaktu Golubicka vis laik buvo einama?
Tas mane šiaip, jo.
Ta prasme, šiaip labai stipriai. Pauliuką nešė, daužė, talardavo, ten eidavo jį be ceremonijų, nežinau, ten nebūsiu vertintojas, kur buvo, kur nebuvo baudos, bet kad buvo jisai taikinys ir ant jo buvo uždėta, kad jam neduot žaisti ir jį, kaip pasakyti, talžį, tai čia neabejotinai, nes tiek daug nukritusio žaidėjo po kontakto nei vieno kito nemačiau, tai čia irgi strategijos dalis, žinant, kad šiaip Paulius vakar man visai patiko.
Vienas geriausių žaidėjų,
skaičiau. Ir vienas iš šio sezono geriausių rungtynių, tikrai toli gražu iki ką jis gali, bet kai pasibūdo kamuolys, tu kažkokio optimizmu, žinai, trykšti, kad čia kažkas gali būti ir jisai tose dalyje tų pavojingų atakų jisai ir dalyvavo iš esmės, per jo kraštą jis vyko. Tai džiugu už Paulių, gal ir tas išėjimas iš sportimus jam davė.
Aš tikiu, kiek kalbėjau su žaidėjai, sako, neįmanoma, tu kilimas, sako, tu bijai. Tai
bet Sapanui atrodė, kad ir ant federacijos stadiono buvusios, pažiūrėk, po pirmo kelio pakeitę, tai ne šiaip su, tai perdamai, netikslus sprendimai, prastokai labai atrodė.
Iš negatyvo pusės, 2 traumos, Gratas ir Matulevičius, Gratas 32. Matulevičius matėsi ir transliacijos specialiai sukau, labai nemaloni situacija ir tikrai gali būti, kad iškris ilgam, tu noris palinkėti sveikatos, labai gaila.
Stiprybės,
jo, nes sezoną pradėjo, sakykim, neblogai ir buvo rinktinės kalibro žaidėjas, sakykim, ar ne, ir panašiai, tai ir Vilniui tokio žaidėjo netektų. Jau yra dar viena problema, kai tu nelabai turi kuom pakeisti. O Vidijus vis tiek, jisai labiau yra 6 žaidėjas, 6 numeris, ta prasme, jis labiau atramoji greuna, o Matulė dar...
Bet žinai, gal Paulių žemiau.
Bet čia vėl klausimas, matai, atsisuki į komplektaciją ir pasižiūrint to suolo, kad lemba tų žaidėjų trūksta.
Darius Stankevičius dar vis dar traumuotas.
Dar traumuotas, dar jam užtrūksta reabilitacija, tai jo, stiprybės jam. Ir pabaigai tiesiog Discordą dar vakar atsidariau.
Discordą net nejau vakar skaityti. Ten žinučių, net nejau kitur tylų, žinai.
Jo, Vilniaus tema buvo labai pasikūrusi.
Visi ištraukė tų senų, kas ką parašė prieš tai.
Čia tarsi.
That's the spirit, žinai.
Bet man tai labai smagu, kad yra tasai bendruomenės vaibas ir ten, bet čia normalu pas mus yra ir Vilniečiai, ir tie, kurie prieš Vilniečius arba kitų komandų atstovai, visi susbėga ten tą temą ir tada, žinai, išpalkuojasi jie. Tai, aišku, ten buvo kalbėta ir apie lagaminus Džiaukštui, aš sakyčiau, gal duokim šansą, bet ten buvo, aš mačiau, iš tų žmonių, kurie galbūt buvo linkę dar tikėti treneriu, jau jie ten tokias nurašė savo nuomonę taip ganėtinai griežtai. Tai įdomu, kaip bus su treneriu kėdė, bet, Vilniui
tai
lengva nėra.
Turbūt jeigu pralaimėtų riteriam, tai gal būtų galima tikrai tą klausimą pralaimėti Bangai ir tada tu turbūt turi tų klausimų, bet jeigu tu strategiškai vertini, jeigu klubas davė jam šansą, aš manau, kad jie puikiai suprato, kad jie duoda treneriui, galim sakyti kažkiek avansų, nes 2 mėnesiai tos atkarpos buvo labai gerai ir smagu, bet jeigu tu detalizuoji, ten gali rasti ir kampų, kur ne vien trenerio, ten galėjo būti, kaip pasakyti, įdirbis ir rezultatas, bet tu duodamas tą šansą, tu supranti, kad tu imi trenerių, kuris yra praktiškai be patirties vyriausiojo pozicijoje.
Jo.
Tai iš tavo pusės tada būtų gerai, tai tu nori eiti ant čempionų, imi trenerį, kuris su mažai patirties ir tada atleidai po 3 mėnesių, nes jis neneša rezultatų. Tai tu turėjai įvertinti, kiek yra ta riba to rezultato nebuvimo ir panašiai. Aš manau, kad čia trenerių irgi, mokykla yra. Suprantu, būtum pasiėmęs Andrius Kerlą ir jisai taip deliverintų pradžią. Tai tada jo galėtum sakyti, mes ne taip tikėjomės. O čia tu supranti, kad trenerių iš tam irgi yra viskas nauja. Ir atsakomybė kita, ir visas tas emocijas, ir adaptacija, viską, ir ieškoti kelių, kas kaip. Jeigu vienas ten, kaip ir žinai, po rungtynių su Džiugu ten gynybą perdėlio, tai tu turi prisimti kaip ir klubo valdžia, kad mes jam davėm šansą, tai mes jam tą kreditą ne po mėnesį.
Plus ta rinka yra tokia, kad tu nelabai iš ko išsirinksi. Iš ko tu pasimsi. Jeigu lietuvių treneriai, tai tu nėra tokio trenerio.
Jo, tai gerai.
Gerai, repinam šiandien jo.
Tai dar trumpai, like, subscribe, share, hype ir prisijunkit prie Contribui platformos, kaip minėjom, daugiau bus prizų iš mūsų partnerių ir dar pasileidom tokį kaip crowdfundingą, planuojam važiuoti pas mūsų lietuvių Slovenijoje, kadangi tokios kelionės yra nepigios, tai turėsim ir kažkiek partnerių pagalbos, bet prisidėkit ir jūs, 50, 15 eurų, whatever, tikrai norim duoti gero kontento visiems, intervų, podcastų, vlogo, storių, tai šitoj vietoj prisidėkit, būkit to dalim, padėkit toliau podcastui augti ir kviečiam.
Visa informacija aprašymė bus,
taip,
o susimatysim su jumis.
Padkastas, britedrinks.com, meeting roomas, keliausim ir mes ten, pamatysim storiuką tai ką, kviečiam svečius mūsų.
Pasitiksim po sekundės. Yeah, we can just go on and switch to English. We have some kind of experience before. We had a podcast with Enrique Devens.
Yeah.
He came to us to speak about his time in Vilnius Žalgiris and Lithuania in general.
Because
So now it's
he played like in 5 teams and in different leagues and different levels. So it was the first ever English podcast. So you're the second. So it's nice to have you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. It's today we have Paulius, we have Max, and we will talk mostly about Baltic League. We have many different opinion in podcasts, in media, LFF president. Then we have league position, Lithuanian league position. It's like very big, serious topic, but nobody clearly knows what's going on with the Baltic League. Why we need that, why we need to be a part of it. Somebody wants it and says like, yeah, it's a great opportunity. Somebody just doesn't seem to be interested at all. So we'll come to that. We'll speak about it. So guys, you were in Vilnius yesterday. You watched the Žalgiris derby. How was it?
Well, first of all, guys, thank you very much for hosting us. It's great to be part of this podcast and to share the ideas and the views. Secondly, I want to congratulate you on Lithuanian football being back on track. Club football, I mean. Because honestly, what we saw yesterday, what I felt and saw yesterday, it's amazing. It is amazing, and I'm really, really happy to see what is happening with Lithuanian football. I see new people coming in, business-wise, but the most important, passionate about what they're doing, and with a real interest, and that the people that are ready to find the solutions, to have a good discussions, finding the solutions, and the most important, willing to learn, open to learning. So it is a great experience, and what I saw at the stadium, the energy, honestly, the authenticity of that, it was amazing. It was amazing because the last time I saw this and I felt this, it was a Dublin derby last year when I went to, there was a national stadium, 33,000 people coming to Bohemians against Shamrock Rovers. No VR game, old school Irish football, physical one with a great atmosphere, with a great pre-game pub session, after the game pub discussions about the football. It was amazing. And I felt yesterday something similar to this. Maybe the scale is more small, but for our countries to have almost 5,000, I guess, was yesterday.
Yeah,
with
4,644.
Yeah, so pre-game show organization. We went through also the pitch level to see the operations, how the clubs are preparing, how is the league, the federation is preparing the game. And to my mind, you are back on track. Honestly, 10 years ago when we started, so I co-founded the club RFS with two of my friends, and we know that the struggles of the clubs being coming from point zero to playing. I'm now not the part of the club, but still the procedures and the people that we brought together at that time, they're still working there, and I feel like this is the seeds that we saw, for example, last year in Europa League. So I know how does the club operate and all the struggles. And then we started developing the league. So I was always watching what is happening in other countries, in other leagues. And honestly, the only league that I watched in Baltics, what I was trying to understand how they and what they do, it was Lithuanian Basketball League, right? Because I haven't seen the fresh ideas. The television product was very good at that time. 10 years ago in Lithuania, you were much, much higher in terms of the league, operations, everything. That's true. Then after a few years, it went down. So now what I saw, I'm super happy that something is coming back. And to my mind, with the system that you have, with the support from municipality, with people that you have now in the club's management, in 2-3 years, you will see very good results. Very good results. In terms of the, of course, there are many, many factors. You cannot say just like that it's going to happen. But if you keep these people, if you keep the same support, of course, the market is also, there is a high inflation in football, in the salary terms and transfers. So financially, you need to keep up. That's why probably we'll discuss a little bit later why we need to make some steps in order to be sustainable, financially sustainable, and secondly, to lower the gap or to keep this gap, because it's increasing. Maybe people that are not working, just following football, they don't see it, but the gap between our clubs and our leagues is growing. But it's another question. So first of all, it was great. Secondly, congratulations.
Hey guys, yeah, it's a little bit strange to speak in English with you, but yeah, always excited. I keep watching, following, even sometimes I join some discussions on Discord, which I hated at the beginning, but I can agree that was the right move. And but speaking about yesterday, I was really impressed. First of all, really congratulations to Žalgiris. What are they doing? Congratulations to both Žalgiris, Vilnius for organizing the game in a very high level. We also had, as Max said, the stadium tour, thanks to Rytis, and hospitality and everything really great. And also congratulations to Kauno Žalgiris, and because what they're doing at the moment, definitely they are the best team if we talk about football. But how everything worked yesterday, I really enjoyed. I had a good time, and I came there, and first time probably in my life I saw so many, let's say, not only full stadium and fantastic atmosphere, but also you go to VIP and you see all these important people that are finally coming to the football. And I remember those times when, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, if I said to someone that, oh, I went to this game, sometimes you feel like ashamed that people are thinking you're crazy, why you're going there.
Yeah.
And now I
What
feel
happened
that
in your life?
all of this is changing. And I'm really happy that I think the right people are coming to football. This is what Lithuanian football really needed. And now Vilnius, Kaunas, Sūduva, I mean, 3 great examples. And yeah, I'm so happy, excited, and it was really good job that Vilnius did yesterday, organizing the game. And the game itself was fun to watch, actually. I think first half for Vilnius Žalgiris was probably the best this season, is just my opinion. Second half, of course, if you consider 17th second, it's difficult. But in general, I think it was a very competitive and interesting game.
Yeah, and for you, it's very nice to compare, because 10, 12 years ago, you worked in the league, yes, and now you see how it's changed, because you tried also with the Čekavičius and the other people to make a difference, but I think that it wasn't the right time, and there wasn't enough right people in the clubs to change, and now we have this changes in the big clubs. And
yeah, because bringing sponsorship, when you bring right people, then you can also start attracting money, and it's all connected, very connected. I remember times 15 years ago when I was living in Pakruojis for one season, when I switched from Kauno Žalgiris basketball club to football, basically in a village in the middle of nowhere. And also I had this experience, and I remember those times when you could never imagine that Lithuanian football will have games like this. So I'm really happy that everything is moving, I would say, in the right direction now, and I really see potential and especially people.
Okay, I also have a question for you about this prison game between Žalgiris and RFS. You commented it in 2 languages. How was that experience?
I don't know. It just came to my mind that Žalgiris is doing a lot of cool stuff, Andrius Tapinas and all these people. And I just thought, let's do something interesting. And I had this idea, just wrote to Andrius. I said, what do you think? Maybe it's just a stupid idea, or what do you think? And he said, no, let's go, let's do it. And then we just agreed that we will broadcast. They will put on Laisvės TV. And it was actually I enjoyed myself those 2 hours, where really it was something different, but it's not difficult for me because I comment on Go3 every week, some games in Latvian, some in Lithuanian, so there's no big difference at the moment for me.
Okay, and for the Latvian fans who watched that game, did you have some replies with, oh, what are you doing, why it's like that?
I actually had a lot of feedback from that game. I had more feedback than I have when I comment, for example, on TV, sometimes Champions League, because it was just something different, and there were a lot of people that know me and probably are not very interested in football, but they just turn on for a few minutes just to see how it goes.
Will you fail or
But basically everybody enjoyed it. It was a friendly game, so come on, I think it's the right time. The coaches can experiment there, and also I did.
You can.
So I don't know, maybe one day we're gonna repeat that.
National teams playing against
Baltic
each other.
Cup.
yeah, Baltic Cup this summer. So
yeah, I guess last few years, maybe last 5 years, it's like a friendly sparring from Lithuanian side. I guess because of the monitoring. Virsliga, everybody's watching. You had great examples of transfers of RFS, for example, games, the match experience, and so on. And I think that somewhere in minds of people was like, we are not that bad as we can sparring with Latvia, we can do the same. And somehow, years after years, we finally reached that. And for example, one of the aims for the national team is to beat Latvia and to win Baltic Cup. So some kind of friendly rivalry is in there, and I think it's great.
But I think like from league-wise, just like you showed the example of how you can work like even in our market and make a good product. Way like 10 years ago, you started in league. How many years?
2018 was the first season.
Yeah,
I just want to add one thing that also for Lithuanian viewers might be interesting, that Maksims was the one who brought Valdas Dambrauskas actually to
really?
Latvia,
Okay.
to
Nice.
RFS. So
So we are scouting. We are making transfers from Lithuania to
That's
Latvia.
so,
very happy for
because
Valdas.
after Latvia, he went to Gorica, yes?
Yes,
think,
yes.
He went to Gorec, and then his assistant coach who joined to learn, let's say, at that time from Valdas. Then he got an expected opportunity to be a head coach, and until this day he remains as a head coach,
Okay,
and
so
he
that's
brings us
long.
to the Conference League, Europa League, which is just incredible,
Okay,
incredible story.
nice.
But at the beginning, for a few months, he was assistant coach of Valdas.
Okay.
Apparently
that's
the most successful Latvian coach history. So, but yeah, the thing is, what you are meaning, it's a healthy competition. The competition drives sports. It drives not only on the pitch, but the same out of the pitch. And what the clubs are doing. I remember back in 2016, and I just mentioned today in talking to the clubs, that nobody was actually putting starting lineups before the game in 2016 on social media. Now it's just like a must-have. Everybody is doing that. At that time, nobody had the analytical person dealing with all the data that's coming from the performance. Now every club, so RFS was the first one to have. We educated one of our employees, and he's still there. He's in national team now, so super professional guy. So it's a healthy competition. You see what others are doing and trying to do better or to do the same level. So that's why the exchange of the ideas, having a healthy discussions on different topics, on comfortable topics, uncomfortable topics, it always helps to move forward.
Yeah, because like regarding league things, I always write Paulius to ask some things, because you've been through that, like counting spectators, WSCC. I saw your presentation in SportBiz, and we implemented in Lithuania. So yeah, in that case, you're a good example. You know, you have how you can clean up everything and try to grow it, you know, step by step. Of course, you have your challenges. You don't have like all the heritage clubs in Latvia. We have that advantage. But when I see to your league and what job you did, it's a great example, which Lithuanian league is trying to reach, you know, now.
We probably need to mention that we were like almost dead as a league a few times, right? It was super challenging, especially in the start. But now, why we are confident when we talk about anything related to the leagues and operations and management. So first of all, we started in the point where we had no strategy and no idea where to go. So Latvian league at that time, they had the budget of 170,000 with a one part-time job employee, no CEO, no documents, no office. So nothing. It's just like a 1-2 camera production level, not HD quality. Infrastructure was like, now it's better, of course, but it's not the topic of the clubs. It's more like a municipality. But the product itself, let's say honestly, it was shit, right? So you cannot commercialize it. You cannot make people watching it because you're on your own. I myself didn't want to watch it, right? So that was the idea, how we can move forward. But the main was like, let's build a strategy where we want to be. In order to go somewhere, we decided, okay, let's find some unique selling point. Now we have this selling point, but at that time we were just doing like fans. So we decided, okay, let's create some content around the games, and we didn't have any data. So me as a football fan, we just were saying like, okay, let's do this, and if we like. There is a high probability that other fans will like it because we are the football fans as well. Now, how we operate, we base our decision on the experience and on the data. So now for the last already 4.5 years, we collect all the data related to league's operations in terms of the viewership, in terms of the social media management, webpage, application, everything. So we can tell what things are working, what are not working. We can explain why. We follow whether it was the right timing for the right content, and so now you make a wise decision, and this is what helps you to grow. and to move forward. But the same we mentioned the yesterday game, it's very important that yesterday it was not the game, it was event. People like to be at the events because they go there, because my friends are going, there will be some famous people, there are other people that I want to meet, and you go for the event. Sometimes, yesterday, Žalgiris lost 3-0. After the game, I thought it will be empty like in 2 minutes.
I thought it will be empty like 5 minutes left, to be honest.
Yes, exactly. First of all, people were staying at the stands because they understood it was authentic. The club played really well the first half. I think the whole atmosphere was such a pressure on the football players because whenever they had the ball, they tried to score. Just like if they would be a little bit calmer, you know. So that's why, because it's expectations against the reality. I think that if players also feeling, they're also human beings. They feel it, that there is a new management, there is new ambitions, and here there's our main opponent. We need to show at home with this whole atmosphere, and I think that played against them. So I think the defense of Žalgiris lost yesterday, not the attack and will. So they was quite ambitious, but they are on the right path, and they just need to believe to follow this path. But this was event. It was not just a regular game. So the more we have these kind of events, like we go to the Germany, yes, we just discussed before the podcast that the nice atmosphere, but every game in Germany, it's like an event. It's a festival, right? And that's what we want to see in domestic competitions. Of course, here's the heritage, here's the history. You have two clubs, very, very historic ones, and this is where I'm jealous in a good way to see this relationship between the fans and the club and the community around it. In Latvia, we have like 10 years old clubs, 12 years old clubs playing.
Which is the oldest club in the league?
Now I would say Auda is the oldest.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, but let's say the Riga club, it's 10 years old. RFS, Riga FC, Liepa, okay, it's rebranded. You cannot say that this is the same Liepa that was like a Metalurg. It's completely different, right? It was reborn in the same city, but it's a different brand. It's also a young club.
What about Ventspils?
Ventspils, they're now in the second division.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They were champions a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they were champions.
3 years ago.
Not 3 years ago. 3 years ago, they didn't exist almost.
Yeah. So the time flies really fast.
So when they were champions?
They were champions under current Chevrolet coach, I think, for the last time.
It was 2014, 15.
In between the
something.
RFS winning titles.
It was Valmiera.
Valmiera.
Yes, Valmiera.
Valmiera is back on the first league there.
Okay.
Yes. So the second tier, it's called first division, but it's second tier. So that's the thing. This events, people going, and then they don't forget about the result because you felt authentic, you felt that it was a nice event, and you will repeat that.
Yeah,
you mentioned that Virsliga had his lowest points when you were shitty and you were trying. I guess Top Liga, former A Liga, faced the same situation, the same problems. And if we compare now, Virsliga is gaining far more reach, far more, clicks, views, and so on. Have, A Liga tried to communicate with you just to talk? Can you share their experience, or it was like we are doing the same, it's not worth it?
No, during this 8 years, a few times I had the meetings with the representatives of Lithuanian League Federation, and they were asking questions, and we were always super open to show all the numbers, what we're doing. I truly believe that this is nothing to hide. We need to be super transparent and help to each other to grow. So for me, it was strange that there were changes all the time. So I even couldn't understand who's the managing the league, who's the president, who's the CEO.
Yeah.
And nothing followed.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this meeting, we had discussions. Let's go, guys. Let's do together. We can. So I'm such as a manager of the Virsliga, I believe in this cooperation. I believe in this term competition. So cooperate with your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm always saying to the clubs, on the pitch, you fight. Out of the pitch, you need to cooperate. Because if we want to grow our competition, we need to give part of our revenues and to part of our decision-making power to the central institution, like the league. Because the league is 10 clubs. Every club has the same vote for them. Yes. So you need to give something back. That's why Premier League, this is the best competition because they understood it in 1992 when they created a breakaway league. Not all the clubs were happy with that. They had to lobby a lot. And then Rupert Murdoch came with the Sky and invested. But at that time, it was super revolution. But they decided to give away a part of their revenues, right? They made the centralized distribution of TV rights, splitting, and still by now it's the lowest ratio. So I think it's 1 to 1.6. So if, for example, like the last place receives 100 million, the first place will 160 million. So it's the lowest among all the leagues in the world, in Europe, let's say, that they distributed. So this is like a competition. You need to do this. And the same for the leagues. I said, if you will be better off, we will be better off. So when we talk about Baltic League, for people, mainly they think about the format, right? So your clubs will play against our clubs in the single league, or people imagine different formats, right? So we can discuss it later. Baltic League is not only about the formats. It's about actually structures. It's about operations. It's about many, many things. Commercial product, media product, so all these kind of things. So if today we take Top Liga and add to our agreements for the broadcasting rights, data rights, streaming rights, scouting rights that we have, all these agreements, today both leagues would be earning around 2 million euros generated. Today, Virsliga, this year we have a budget of 8,600,000. So we are moving close. We will, like, our imaginary goal is like to reach 1 million, right, in revenues. All the commercial revenues. Only 22,000 is coming from the federation. Everything.
Only 22,000?
Yes. If tomorrow we don't sell something, we don't have a broadcasting because we pay to the broadcaster. This is a bad situation in our small markets that we pay to the broadcast, not the broadcaster coming, guys, you're doing such a great job, let's go. So like Sky did with the Premier League, because somebody need to break the vicious circle. Fans say, I don't want to pay or watch this because I'm waiting when the product will be super good. We don't have the money now so to invest. So we need, the banks will never give us a credit to invest. So now we need somebody come. Television says that we don't have the money because you have a product. So somebody needs to break this. Either television, national television, for example, that I've heard here something happening similar, that for the first time there is a commercial relation between the television and the league.
Yes. So
then you start investing, then the fans appreciate, they are ready, okay, we are ready to pay for this because we're enjoying this product. Then the club starting earning, they investing in their squads, they're becoming better. The game's becoming better, then the television is more interested about it. So, but somebody needs to break this vicious circle. Unfortunately, today, there is no chance. There are no investors that will come to our clubs, buy all the clubs and say, let's go, let's build infrastructure, let's build the teams. So we need to find other solutions. So I think that we are very, very close to see the management of the clubs, to see what you're doing. I think we are very close to the first step, going to the market together. Providing if we go, for example, selling betting data rights, that we go together, not like 180 games in Virsliga, but for example, if we combine this 60 games, right?
Just maybe for the context of the people, because also some regular fans are watching. So one of the good things that Maksims is doing and Virsliga is doing is selling the rights together with other leagues. And I think you can explain more, but I think when you go as a group, we can always just get more money comparing to if you will go alone. And that's
for example, how much money
the
does
tenders.
the Latvian league gets from the broadcast for abroad?
For the broadcasting is the lowest part, so we had 22,000 for in the international broadcasting. So we don't have the domestic deal, but we have international because we are going together with other 5 leagues, selling with the Slovakia, Iceland.
Okay, so how much you get from that?
22,000.
22,000. Okay, so
yes.
But something similar is doing Top League as well. They're selling, I guess, to bettings or something?
Yeah, we're selling to the bettings, and though that income money goes to the cost of the broadcasting.
Mm-hmm. So we can dive into this topic because fans, probably regular fans, don't know this. But so the league has several revenue sources. Of course, it's sponsorship, naming rights, so branding. Like Top Liga, like TonyBet Virsliga, so it has the naming, and then it depends on the depth of that agreement. Then you have broadcasting rights. So what means the broadcasting rights? Broadcast is the TV product. So that the TV companies taking it and show it linearly, meaning linearly is on television, or digitally, right, in their digital platforms. TV broadcasting right could be domestic and international. So why Premier League is super popular and super powerful? Because they have both. For the first time, their international broadcasting right is bigger than their domestic TV rights. It's not the case with the Bundesliga. Bundesliga earning 1 billion at home and not earning like, I think 200 million, something like abroad. So the big difference on international. But of course, to scale for Bundesliga in German language to different countries is much harder than English product. So it's obvious. Spanish La Liga has an advantage of United States because of the Hispanic like population and then Latin America. So I think United States is 300 million coming only from one country. So you see like there is a big difference in this. We, of course, don't have any domestic TV deal, which is the main fuel for the club's development. So it's the main money. So, okay, now for the big clubs, commercial revenues are also playing a big role for Real Madrid, PSG. So you see now their commercial revenues just incredibly grew during the last few years. But, okay, so it's broadcasting rights. Then you have streaming rights. What does it mean? Streaming? Streaming is the signal, the same video that goes to the internet, and mainly betting companies are buying this streaming rights to show the games on their platforms because it's like a marketing cost. You go to the betting platform, you make a bet, and you can watch the game there. So maybe it's also, I don't know, don't have the data, but probably it's increasing the rate of bets, right? So that you see that the game is real, it's happening. You see one team is pushing, maybe they will score a goal. So that works like that. Then the next is betting data rights. It's the data that betting companies need to produce the bets, right? And you can do it only from the stadium. Okay, you can do it from the broadcasting, but if there will be a delay in the broadcasting, there might be an arbitrary thing, and then somebody is sitting at the stadium putting a bet, they score, and then you are not seeing it on TV yet. Yeah. So that's why people coming to your stadium, and that's what we did. One of our main first steps was we identified this problem that people are coming to our stands and just collecting the data, our data, because there were multiple courts in European history about all this stuff, about the naming rights, about the data, and so on and so on. So this is our data. We put it in the regulations in the stadium. We put it regulations on the tickets. And of course, we educated the clubs and their security that if you identify illegal collection of the data, you need to ask people to leave the stadium, right? So we started protecting it.
Okay, can we expand on that? How the mechanics works with, or, for example, because you were speaking about the people who are sitting on a phone and putting the statistics of the game. So, for example, in Flash Score, I can watch the statistics. Yeah, we're speaking about the same or no?
This data stream goes also to these companies. Yes, like a Flash Score. Yes, it's a separate contract. Yes, but mainly it's coming from betting world, right? Usually all these flash scores are owned by some betting companies, right? Okay. So yes, people sitting with a laptop or with a phone. So I for myself, I think 10 times I was seeing these guys coming, sitting next to them, sitting, watching what they're doing, and then asking, so what are you doing? I said, no, nothing. I said, listen, what you are doing, it's actually illegal. Because you see, and I opened the ticket and I showed, see, this is a tax that you cannot do this. So if I see you once again at the stadium doing this, and luckily we have a small stadium for this. It's hard to protect. In Portugal and Germany to find these people, right? But in a smaller stadium, I know like half of the fans at the stadium. So we see these
unfortunately.
Guys. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I would say unfortunately. But then I just and I also was speaking. So they were speaking on the phone. I said, "Can you give me the phone? I want to speak to these people." And then there was like in Egypt, some guys, they couldn't understand what is happening. I said, listen, you are speaking to the league president. So if you want to collect the data, this is my number. I called the number. I said the number. You call me. We give you accreditation. It will cost you some money, but then you can do this legally. So Okay, now we have exclusive deals. It was like a joking, but that was a fun thing. But you need to protect your product.
Yeah, but like the mechanics, you just go around the stadium and you check
Yes,
the
yes,
people.
yes.
Of course, when they are with laptops, it's easy, but when they are their phones, you know.
Actually, I can a little bit say, because maybe 15 years ago, I was one of those guys going to the stadiums. More, I was working actually on basketball games. It was my, let's say, side hustle for maybe a few years. You go with the phone, you have like a special application, or you just get, it's like usually different phone, not the one that you're using, but the company provides you a phone. And there are just simple things, you know, you need to mention when there is a ball in the game, when there is a like pause.
Attacking one
yeah,
side,
like main basic things that impacts, let's say, betting things. And it's really easy to identify and see them, because
You
you
get
are
to
always on
football.
the phone.
Yeah, you're always
You
on
will
the
never.
phone.
These guys, they must be on the phone.
Yeah.
You cannot, you know, watch something. You are 100% in, and usually you have something, because if, for example, you have some problems with the internet, etc., then immediately they call you, because there's people behind you in the company working. So like you are always available for the call. So usually they're super focused. They always come like 30 minutes or 1 hour before the game, and it's actually in our stadium. Okay, if we will have 5,000 people in every stadium, it will be a bigger challenge. But in general, even if the audience is a few thousand, they just stand out, and usually, you know, because these are the same people coming and trying to sneak in. So
I think
at that time nobody cared. So I was working just openly, and there was.
And now,
if there will be 5,000 in every stadium, the like income for the clubs will be that huge that probably nobody would care about that, you know.
yeah, it is so. But now this revenue source is around 35 to 40% of the league's revenue. So imagine that 7 years ago, 8 years ago, it was 0. Now it's 40% with a much higher. So it's double the budget we had 8 years ago. So only this contract. And of course, the problem with these contracts, to identify the value, why it's like not 10,000, it might be 1,000, 2,000, depending on the league. Why it's not like 10,000? And if you don't have the data, if you don't speak with your colleagues from different leagues, you will never understand what is the price range for your league. And that's why cooperation and discussion is very important. So if we go together, let's go with this price, because betting needs data. Without all the betting, it's derivative. It's a product of sports, of football. No game tomorrow, no betting. Okay, now there is a predictions market. You can bet on everything in the world, right? So, but in classical betting, but in the predictions market as well, the revenues for these companies is much lower than the betting company, right? So this classical betting will still exist and will be important for the sports, any organization as a league, especially in our markets. And then we move forward to the scouting. Scouting, it's actually the hardest part to commercialize, because it's the data that players are producing, like performance data. So you have such companies like Y-Scout, Impact. So they take your videos, they produce commercial product, and then they sell to your clubs back. So it's always like, guys, you are collecting our videos that we produce. You produce the commercial product, so you need to pay us, I don't know, like 50,000. I said, okay, we will pay you 50,000, but it will be 50,000 more for your clubs to buy. So it's then you need to start like thinking, what should I do? Whether I should sell. Usually, I prefer to have some commercial revenue, because then it shows that we're protecting our product. We don't give it for free. We protect, even to receive 25, 30,000 from these companies. I show to the clubs, okay, I use this money to cover the cost of these contracts. We provide all the Y-Scout accounts to every club. It's some things that we do for the clubs, value in kind. Today, it's impossible to distribute the money to the clubs, because this money will not help these clubs to grow, and the league will be stagnating. We cannot do anything without the funds. So money is the budget is our amount of work that we can do for the league, for the fans, and for the clubs. So and actually then sponsorship, right? Classical, for different positions you might have sponsors and not so many things, but mainly all the leagues in the world, domestic TV deal is by far the most important, whether it's Belgium, Denmark, whatever. And that's why now you see a lot of fights against piracy happening, right? Because the piracy is now on top. It's it's booming. And of course, all the La Liga, Serie A, they understand that they're losing 300, 400 million per season because of the piracy. And then they're chasing all these companies and Google and others, so to identify these servers where this illegal streaming is happening. But I always say, also you need to learn from pirates. Why people using pirate these platforms? Because it's cheap and everything in one single platform. Now, if you need to watch football, for example, I don't know, in England, you need to have £1,000 and have like 4 or 5 platforms. Of course, people just naturally go to these platforms. They risk, because now it's a serious actually violation in many countries, right? You risk with the criminal charges and so, but it's happening.
You mentioned about the league, that how many people are working in the league right now?
6.
Maybe that's
Full-time, yes?
No.
Oh.
Full-time, only 2.
Okay, so
it's kind of similar, no?
It's a part-time. Unfortunately, this is the thing that the next step that's going to happen, it will be when we move to the full-time, so the guys could be 100% available for the Virsliga. And for example, Paulius, he's in the club, he's with the Virsliga dealing with some projects on fantasy league, a football manager and so on. Yeah, so we have some like a project managers. But my model in the league is that we have several guys, and I say, guys, you are the product owners. Like Paulius is a product owner of fantasy. I don't need to go and check what is happening with the fantasy world, because he's the product owner. He's taking care in his time where he can, but the job needs to be done. So because the fans will not wait when we update something on. So and that's the thing. This approach helps us to work, but of course. People is human resources in our hands. We can do much, much more. And in an ideal world, we need also production team inside, that because we have access to every club. We can go to any club, any player, any coach, and we create amazing content that creates this emotional connection between fans and the club and the players. And what I truly believe that what we can do. For 20 years, I was a huge Bayern Munich fan. So I was watching every game, and when we started the project of RFS in 2016, the first season, after that, I completely stopped watching big football. Like Bayern Munich, I was still watching the Premier League and Champions League. Why? Because I got so much data and information about my team. I was visiting the theory sessions where the players are receiving from the coaches information, how to play, how the opponents are playing. So for me, football became like a chess, because I knew that this wing back will make an overlap in this situation. This is going to be like this. And then you watch, it doesn't matter where the ball, because you see how the defensive move, how the wingers, how they're opening the spaces. And I said, wow, this kind of information gives you a completely different perspective on the football game. And for me, watching Bayern Munich was not interesting anymore, because I didn't know what they want to play. Okay, they're playing nice football, but you always watch where the ball is. You don't see all this beauty of this game, how it's moving on. And I told also to my guys in the league, I said, this is our goal, to create such a content and that we discover the players, we discover the coaches, and we show them in a different perspective. We're still not doing it yet. So it was 8 years ago, and you can imagine we're still thinking about it because we don't have such resources now to do this. But of course, it's on our top priorities to make this emotional attachment, to tell the stories, how teams are playing, why they're playing, how the coaches are using their terminology of football, right? So how they explain to their players. Somebody is more open to share, somebody is not, but we also produced, for example, last year, Coach's Voice session. So we invited the coaches of Virsliga to come to the table. There is a board with like a football field with the players, so that they can describe their games, where one of the members. There is a popular Coach's Voice channel on YouTube. So we copied the idea.
That's a good idea.
To show, because then you see what the kind of personality is.
Yeah.
Okay, press conference gives you some idea about the coach. But mainly they are, here he can choose any game that he remembers from 5 seasons. So, and then you can tell more, like not about how you're going to play next game, right? So this kind of things, the same about the players. We need to do this. Then our fans will have this emotional attachment to the player, to the coach, to the club, or maybe to the league.
I think we now have the viewers have the imagination about Latvian football, Virsliga, about Maksima, about Paulius, and now we can a bit shift to the Baltic League concept. Paulius mentioned that you had a meeting with Kauno Žalgiris representative. You were in Vilnius, so Mantas have asked the question, what is the attitude of Kauno Žalgiris and the new owners and management of Vilniaus Žalgiris and Sūduva towards the Baltic League? Have you already discussed something with them?
We had a meeting today also in Kaunas to see, actually the idea was to see the club, to meet the people and to see what is happening, because we feel that something is happening in Lithuanian football. For me, it's super interesting what is happening. And we had also this topic, one of this topic was a Baltic League concept. And I really enjoyed the feedback from the club. Of course, nobody asked whether you want, don't want. So it was just presenting the idea. And when you start thinking about any project, the most important question is why? Why we need this? So if you don't answer this question, why, so you don't feel the need, you don't feel the challenges and threats that I'm satisfied where I am, you cannot, I don't want to say the sell, because it's not about selling the idea. For me, Baltic League is the necessity. Because my experience, the data that we collected and we asked independent companies to produce the simulations of different formats, we see what is happening with other leagues, because I'm communicating with all European leagues on a daily basis. I know the situation in Slovakia, in Ekstraklasa, in Iceland, in Armenia, in all this competition. I see what is happening in these leagues, and I see, of course, what is happening in the club competition, UEFA club competitions, right? We see BRITE is playing from Kosovo, playing in 2 seasons in the Conference League, then Balkani before, and they're passing by in the UEFA rankings just like that. Right, we were number 34 like 1 season ago. Now we're number 39 in UEFA rankings because of the Conference League, because of the coefficients, and a lot of things are dependent on this actually ranking. For example, during the last 5 years, we received more solidarity than Estonian clubs, I think more than 2.5 million more. So it's an incredible amount of money because solidarity is distributed according to your position in UEFA ranking. The higher you go, the more money you receive.
But I think Latvian league was close to get
yes,
a 5th
one step.
spot, yeah?
No, not the 5th spot, but our cup winner could participate
from
in
the second, yeah.
Europa. In the Europa League.
In Europa League, yeah.
So now
it would mean that they would have another chance if they lose.
Absolutely,
Europa League.
this is incredible. It's an incredible opportunity for
extra $500,000 for the club.
So and when we talk about
the cup, the meaning of the cup would be even much bigger, because now
we were 34th and we needed just to go one step up. Unfortunately, one bad season, RFS didn't go to the group.
And actually, if that year
last season was the key changer, yeah. If you would qualify for the group,
it depends also on the results there, etc. But we were really close, and then our competitors won, we lost, and then. Yeah, because if you are very, very down, there can be the situation like Estonia, that at least for a few years they had only 3 clubs participating in Europe,
I think
which
Lithuania is somewhere always
on the edge.
On the only one club is having the coefficient rank, because other 3 clubs don't get many points. So
Latvia, in this term, Latvia is in quite a good situation, because these clubs from 2016, when the league restarted, let's say, there are more or less the same clubs participating in European competitions, and they have really high coefficients. So, for example, RFS in the Conference League this year are by far the highest ranked team in the first qualifiers round. So it means
11,
that you are.
So this club, with this situation that we have, we can expect one season that we can have 2 teams in the Conference League that Ireland had. Right, because, for example, if RFS will be seeded in 3 qualification stages of Conference League, of course they will still.
I think they will be.
Yes, there's a big chance.
Because Žalgiris,
no, all 4 probably not, but
because Žalgiris, for example, 2 years ago, Vilniaus Žalgiris, they had almost the same coefficient as RFS. They were
But it depends on the teams that are participating that year.
It's also,
now you can see they make a lot of these projections, and there's a few guys. So
I think
on playoffs we will not be seeded, but 3 I think we're almost guaranteed.
Still, you need to pass them. Okay, yes, but sometimes in the playoffs.
I know Conference League is such a.
If you're not a champion, it's very difficult.
It's very hard. Sometimes you can be, for example, Vilniaus Žalgiris, you're seeded and you get Pafos. And
yes, exactly. So, but But we have Vadots, we have Noah from Armenia, we have Shamrock Rovers, showing that it's possible through the league path to reach the Conference League and to have 2 teams even. So this is actually one of the whys of the Baltic League is, for example, this. So we want our 3 leagues to be number 31, 32, and 33. And it doesn't matter in which, priority, right? So because this will give our football enormous boost, and we can be there. All the leagues that are surrounding us, it's Kosovo, Iceland, Ireland, Armenia, Macedonia, all that. This is the same level. It's absolutely the same. There's nothing to, to be afraid of. We need just to play our football, and we will be there. So it's absolutely possible. So starting with why. First thing, Baltic League, we need to divide into, I would say, 4 areas. First one, we talk about level of the game. So there is a classical, I usually use this in my presentations, but it's a subjective theory, but I like about it, and being also in sports for all my life, I think it's very close to the truth, that in order to develop the players, you need to have this 25, 50, 25 rule, that you need to have 25% of your games against very strong opponents, higher level opponents, where you can build resistance, where you can, practice, and then you can survive, let's say, like against the stronger opponents. That's where you learn a lot. Then 50% of the game should be on the same level, competitive. This is where your players' development is happening, where you implement your ideas, you develop the skills, and this is a very important part by far. And then 25% against weaker side, build the confidence to test the ideas, and it's also important, a part of the player's development. So if we, for example, imagine if we divide our 10 teams into 3 groups, 4, 4, and 2, and evaluate how many competitive games and how many weaker side games we have, you will see that this rule is far from implementation. Right, so our stronger teams, of course, they have only stronger sides in the UEFA club competitions because they are more or less the similar level. You have in Lithuania 3, 4 clubs competitive, okay, maybe 2 slightly more competitive. We have our own El Clasico, 2 Riga clubs, super strong. Then we have also like Liepa, Auda, they're very competitive teams as well. Or they play against each other, super competitive games. Interesting, right? Then against others, it's a weaker side, and then there are super weaker sides. So this rule doesn't apply to the big teams. They cannot develop. And the main problem, almost all our national team players that are coming from Virsliga are from these clubs. So imagine they have 12 games per season on a competitive level, plus European competition, but it depends. It might be 2 games, it might be 4 games, so it depends. And it's not in our hands to change anything, so we just discuss only what we can do. Then the second group, they have some more stronger sides they're developing. They have these 4 teams that they're developing at the competitive level, and they have a weaker side. They are more in less good shape. And then the 2 weaker sides, of course, for them, all the games are super, super hard. So what we suggest in terms of the Baltic League, first of all, to keep all domestic competitions. It's important to keep all the spots. But let's decide who is the strongest team in Lithuania and in Latvia, not only in the games against each other in our domestic competitions, but also against actually our neighbors. So that you play first part in your domestic competition. Now we play four rounds, 4 circles. Let's have 2. The same as Premier League, La Liga, any other competitions, 2 rounds. It's enough to decide whether you're a good team or you're a weaker side. Then you take your top 4 clubs and bring them on cross-border competition. So now the champion, let's say the strongest team in Lithuania, will be decided also with the games against the strongest sides from Virsliga. And this is the main idea, to produce much more games on their competitive level. So they still will not get this super high, strong opponents, but at least we go from 12 games to almost like 25 or 30 games on a competitive level for these players. And this is a completely different approach. When you start UEFA competitions, you're already in a completely different shape. Your players with this, let's say, the regime with this schedule are on completely different layer. We help them to develop the skills and to grow. And to finish probably with the format, if we already started mentioning, so that the fans will just a clear idea what we suggest. So after first 18 match days, we split to 4 and lower 6, top 4 and lower 6. Top 4 goes to cross-border, taking the points that they collected between themselves to make it fair, so that they collected. These points should influence the situation. And they move and they play, if we take about 2 countries, like Latvia, Lithuania, they play home and away 8 games against their Lithuanian opponents, and also against themselves. That's what we do today. So round 3 and round 4 for the home teams. And then we decide who is the best team in Latvia and Lithuania.
So
Both teams.
So more, how many games? Like
So it's
6 games against the same Lithuanian clubs, yeah? Against
Yes, and then 8 games.
So 14 games.
Yes,
in
so you have
total,
34 games per season. Now you have 36, and it's actually a good thing that for the big clubs there are 2 more windows to reschedule the game, to prepare. So because 36 for our competitions is too much, but the format, we cannot switch the format. We can go to playoffs, but honestly, the playoffs will not solve the problem of competitive games. That's the thing.
Okay, and of course you will continue, but about the European spots, like
That's the main thing. There's no spots. We're not losing any single spot, because the strongest team in the Lithuania is going to Champions League, as it is right now. The strongest team from Latvia goes to Champions League, as it is right now. Number 2 goes to the Conference League, with the idea that it will be Europa League in some time in the future. And then number 3 and number 4, depending, of course, on the domestic cup, because usually this strong teams winning this cup. So number 1, number 2, and number 3 usually getting already automatically the place. But let's imagine like number 3 is going to the Conference League through domestic cup. Then number 4 playing in the third stage of the competition, a playoff system with number 5, 6, and 7 from the lowest spots, from the lowest 6. With this system, every game for every club is very, very important. Because firstly, you need to qualify for the top 4 in the first stage, because there is an almost guaranteed spot in UEFA club competitions, right? So it's almost there. There's only this tricky 4th place that will have a opportunity to get in the playoffs in the third stage. For the lower teams, it's also super important. They play against their level teams, but they're competing now for the UEFA spot, which is not the case for Lithuania and Latvia right now. After 36 match days, it's impossible for a weaker side to get the place in UEFA club competitions.
once in a while, let's say that.
Yes. Let's statistically, we had last 10 years, what Paulius meant is good for us that we are building coefficient for these clubs. But normally it's the same clubs. Usually it's the same club.
Like in Lithuania is a bit otherwise. For example, 2 years ago, Dainava was in the 4th place, Banga was in the 5th place. Okay, they won the cup. If they wouldn't won the cup, probably they would finish at 4th place. So that's the problem in Lithuania with the coefficient, because the teams are changing like always. Like only
but
2
it's even
teams
better
stay
for
the
them.
same.
For now, they will have. Of course, I would suggest to the clubs to have a single leg game, the playoffs. So it's 2 semifinals and 1 final. But of course, for the big teams, it's they need to decide, because it's painful. You played already like in the top 4. You were there. You played the big games, and then mathematically, historically it was 8% chance. We calculated with one statistical company that previously that in the leagues where they had this situation that this spot is taken in the playoffs, only 8% probability that the smaller team will go to the Conference League. But it's great if once per 10 years we'll have a weaker side qualifying to and having this experience, and for their fans and for the staff, it's a great motivation.
Okay, what about bottom 6? They play...
They remain domestically.
and they play how many games?
They play home and away once again.
So
what
10
they do?
10 games.
Yes. So they
have like
10 games.
28 games in total after...
Yes. So which we had 27 games 8 years ago when we had 8 teams. There is maybe prevention of that. They say, okay, 28 maybe not enough, but with the cap, with all the games that we have now in the competitions, it's enough to develop the players. And the smaller teams, because they are not making revenues out of ticketing or the fans, for them, actually, every game is a cost center. So they need to organize, they need to travel, they need to... What I discuss with my clubs, they will be happy. They will have to say, yeah, 28 games, it's a good competitive calendar for us. It gives us the chances, to prepare for the stronger sides. It's also, we will wait for this playoffs. It's actually a good system for them. But I agree that might be the difference that one teams have in the season 34, others 6 games less, right? But it's a small drawback. It's not the main. So if we talk about the format. And then number 10 is relegating. So the system of promotion relegation, we don't touch it. It's working. Number 9 is playing relegation playoffs, the same as we have right now. And only number 8 actually doesn't give you anything, right? So you are not in the playoffs or you are not in the relegation. But as we saw last year, we had 4 teams could relegate on the last match day. And actually the teams that relegated decided 10 minutes before the end of the game. So people were sitting at the stadium watching other games, what you want to see, like this kind of high-stakes game at the league. And imagine that at the end of the season, you don't have this sometimes very boring games when number 5, number 6 already understand that they will not reach the UEFA spots and they will not relegate, and actually they don't care any longer. Here, it's impossible. At the end of the season, you have like a final 4. You take the stadium in Vilnius or Kaunas, in Riga and Tallinn. You bring 4 teams. You play a neutral pitch, and you create a festival, a football festival, with the 2 semifinals and the final, with the high-stake games. And then you're not finishing your season with a boring some games that are not needed for anyone. No, every team will need to play till the last minute of the competition. And that's, to my mind, that's what brings you some spiciness and innovation, and also interest for the fans and for the clubs to continue. This is what about the format, honestly. But the beauty of this format, that you as a top league, you don't need to change any regulations. If you want to play, I don't know, with 8 foreign players, 11 foreign players, 3 foreign players, you can do that. We don't need to harmonize our regulations. It's your decision how you want to compete. It's your decision how you want to, to decide who's the best team in Lithuania. Whether you want to play with all foreign players, no problem, yes. Or all Lithuanians, also no problems. And we can do the same. So it gives our federations instruments how they can make modifications in the squads list, right? And this is the beauty, that you don't need to touch it.
Okay, I have a question. You spoke a lot about the competitive games, which is very important for playing in the Europe. So we leave bottom 6 clubs with only 6 competitive games per season.
No, they actually have more, because they are playing, as I mentioned at the beginning. So for this group of the clubs, they actually have a good number of competitive games, and they will play against themselves. They will not play against stronger sides, right? But if we see historically, we had huge results with these teams, like 6-0, 5-0, 7-1, and so on. We don't want to see these results, right? These small teams, in terms of the budget, they cannot compete today. Only if the investors will come and bring, 3-4 million.
I will come with that comparison, but it's you develop when you play against the better players.
When you play competitive games, that's the thing. So you can do this, of course. You need this amount, and they will get it in the first phase of the competition. They will have 8 games against top 4 in the first part. So they will get these games. And then in the second part of the competition, they actually will play against themselves, with the idea that against themselves they can take a UEFA spot. So this is the idea that
let's say it's probably the same percentage of chances of getting that position as from the league path. No, you have to finish at 5th place and win 2 more games then.
Not really. Mathematically, the playoffs, of course, gives you more probability than playing 36 match days.
But still, you have to play 28 games before that. So you will earn 5th place after playing 28 games. So still, you have to play a lot of games, and then you have only 2 games okay, a little bit higher percent, but I don't see like a big difference between that, because still you have to play a lot of part of the season. You play against a club in your level, but
Do you believe that 5-0 score develops FC Riga player against the Tukums?
Yeah, no, I
Doesn't
don't see
help
from
them.
Latvian perspective.
Yeah.
I see it from Lithuanian perspective.
That's true,
because
that in Lithuania-
our kitchen is a bit different. And like 2 years ago, if we would discuss about this, I had more like opinion to the maybe connecting the leagues. But now, after this season, to be honest, I don't see like many emerging points because we have clubs which has some history. We have Banga, we have Sūduva, we have Dainava, we have Vilniaus Žalgiris, we have, let's see, Kauno Žalgiris growing with the basketball organization and all the history from there. And Džiugas is also getting like connecting the community. We have all these clubs, and it's a heritage. We spoke about that. And also now we're having like from the league side domestic deals. It's a 3-year contract with increasing money by year. It will end up near like $500,000 in 3 years. And then we have 2 clubs with new business investors like Kilo Health, Mantinga Group. It's $500 million companies investing in football. And of course we have Kauno Žalgiris, the best organization in the Baltics, and behind the football team. And there smaller clubs organizations are also like developing slowly, but they're on a good path. And you have the heritage, you have the communities, you have investments coming, and I don't see like from the fan perspective why for me as a Vilniaus Žalgiris fan it should be interesting to watch Žalgiris playing against Riga rather than going to watch game against Džiugas. It's just, you come to Telšiai, it's a Lithuanian town, it's a small team, and for me as a fan, it's my country. It's a domestic cup. I care about that. I want to beat like people from Marijampolė. I want to beat team from Telšiai. It's the feeling you bring. I want to beat Kaunas, etc. So from Lithuanian perspective, I don't see like many benefits except, of course, competitive games. We need more of those, but I see money coming in and stable finances. The same as Andrius Tapinas said that he imagined that next year the budget might be 5 million. And year after, 7 million, and it's without European money. So I think with that money, you can be competitive in Europe every year. And I'm not even speaking about Kauno Žalgiris. They have a huge background of basketball. Basketball can put like 1 or 2 extra millions. The municipalities are helping more and more. So I imagine that on this good path, those 2 clubs can have like between 6 to 10 millions in a couple of years. And I think with that budget, it's possible to be competitive for the Conference League every year and even play. And that could bring the coefficient, etc. And also, that brings the communities, that the rivalries between northern part of the Lithuania, Vilnius Kaunas derby between Hegelman. You're building up the history. Of course, we have also new clubs, but I see that we have a chance to go the same path of Ireland because Ireland had a real big breakthrough in football, in the broadcast, in everything. They have, I think, 3 teams played in the Conference League 1 year, or almost 4, I think. And but we have all these heritage clubs, old ones, And comparing Latvia to Lithuania, we have more of that because even the second division, we have some teams who are quite old, and they have ambitions to come to the league, Tauragė, Minija, and etc. So, like, when you see it from Latvian perspective, I see that it's very wise, But especially when many of the teams are playing in Riga, like almost how many clubs are playing in Riga out of 10?
Now it's more than a half.
Yeah, more than half. 1 city. Now we have like 2 playing in Vilnius, 1 near Vilnius, 2 in Kaunas, and additional 5 cities. So something similar, but not the same, But the geography is way much wider, And from our perspective, I see that we're on a good path to like build up our league with the same competitiveness. Also, our cup history in the past 5 years. We have team winning from the second division. We have Banga winning, and the cup is every year is a question who's gonna win it. Last year, Panevėžys, who was in the 6th spot in the league, won the cup. So we have more competitive games. Like in general, we don't have 5-0 every season. It's like 1 or 2 times, and it's against the last team, probably the ones who are relegated. So because I saw the stats, and we don't have like these big differences, and even number 7 place team can play draw or win, And for example, for last year, if we would use last year or 2 years ago system of the Baltic League, Džiugas would play in the top 4 because they ended after 2 rounds they were like in top 4. So
the system for Džiugas would be great.
The thing is,
but then you're gonna play then you're gonna play how many games? 18 games against stronger opponents, and then you will have 5-0 in all of those games probably. So because
you made
as the history turned out, Džiugas lost the gas in the end of the season because they don't have the money, the players, the injuries. So imagine putting them playing 18 games, traveling, and playing against huger teams. Then you will get your 5-0 every game.
You made a very nice and correct comment.
So
because the football, this
perspective.
is the beauty of football, that there is a single solution to all things, right? So we just think what is in our hands in order to make the progress. If what I started this like a talk as well, a monologue, is that if you don't see why, you don't do this, because it doesn't make sense. It only makes sense when you see that it has more benefits than costs, because at some you need to sacrifice something. But in every project, you need to have just net present value of some future investment, right? If there is net present value is a minus, don't do this. It's the first rule of investment. So I agree with you that the situation in Lithuania is different than in Latvia, but the thing, we can have different opinions on the format, on the things. What I just mentioned, the format is only one part. We'll take a look at other advantages. But speaking about the performance on the pitch, the data is suggesting a different thing, right? So that's why, for me, it's very important to support some ideas and concepts with the data, because data doesn't lie. It shows us perfectly well. So usually what I am using in my and presentations and while thinking about the level of football, and this actually shows with the history that this coefficient is really good one in reflecting what is happening on the pitch. So I usually use Euroclub Index, produced by Hypercube company. Hypercube company is the partner of UEFA, right? This company has all the data about all 55 nations, all the clubs in Europe. They know the data from the leagues, so they have a massive amount of data that they can represent and calculate mathematically the level of relative strength index. What does it mean? If the index in Lithuania is growing, somewhere it's going down, right? Because this is combined index of all the leagues. So the index for Lithuania is now showing that you are stagnating during the last 8 years, right? It's going up, it's like down, but it went very much down during the last 15 years. The same for Latvia. We had, I don't know, just I can show you this, but unfortunately our listeners will not see that. So
we can put it on a screen after the podcast.
That's great. Worry. That's great. So
you will just needed to send me the print screen, etc.
Yeah. So if you will see here, sorry.
Okay.
I'll just put it brighter here.
Okay.
So if you see, yes, it's average index of all your clubs. Lithuania is on average on a higher level than Latvia. And if our 10 clubs will play against your 10 clubs 10 games, probably the data suggests that your teams, Džiugas and other, will win more games on this every level. Number 10 against number 10, number 9 against number 9. It's the truth, right? We were here, I'm started, you see this lowest points. This is where we started managing the league. And this is where we made all the regulations changes and all the implementing youth development fund. This is where we became, for the last 6 years, we are the youngest league in terms of average age. So we have, last year it was 141 player was under 21 out of 290. So all the minutes, out of all minutes, 23% were played by Latvian under 21. In Lithuania, only 10. Right, so this is the strategy. But I was started thinking about the unique selling point. So what we did, we helped our bigger clubs to raise the index, and you will see this is the situation in our leagues. Our two strongest clubs are higher on the level than your two strong teams. And yesterday from the game we saw, right, there were 3 players on the pitch that were not playing in Virsliga, being in the squads but not playing in Virsliga. It maybe we don't know the reasons, right? But it's just a matter of fact that they were now on the pitch, and the level itself, purely subjectively, it was slightly low. It's not like far away, but of course we know it from the coaches as well, because they played. Žalgiris played against.
You compared to Riga derby, right?
To Riga derby, right? In terms of the competition level, but all others. And we don't know because they didn't play against us. But the data suggests that on average in Lithuania, it's higher thing.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that the previous chart you showed that
This one.
If 10 would play against 10, 9 against 9, Lithuania would win more games.
It's a data suggests.
Yeah, because I would say that Latvian teams are better in that case.
Yeah, probably, but we don't know that. But what we can do, it's a theory, right? So what we can do, but our approach of using our knowledge of different competitions, analyzing what they are doing, different formats, different levels of the clubs, and then also having data supported, this is how we make decision. And maybe even great ideas with a poor implementation might not work, right? So here's it is the risk. And you are right that these smaller teams, they will have less games against the bigger sides. Yes, they will still have 8, but if you take this concept of 25, 50, 25, you will see that for them, actually lowering amount of these super hard games against stronger side and giving them more like a concentration on the competitive might work. Also, we also operate with the things like might or would, right? Nobody knows, not me, not anybody else. But there is some concepts. And the most important thing that this Baltic League concept, I would say it's hybrid competition. It's not like a Baltic League where we combine. It's a hybrid system. They have multiple other valuable things. So the format is one thing. Second thing is a single product. We discussed about centralized approach of the Premier League, why it's working. When you combine the rights, when you combine the commercial value of many entities, the formula is 1 + 1, not 2, it's 2.5 or 3. This is the logic. One thing that it's more commercially valuable. The second part of the coin, there is economies of scale. So we don't need to have, let's say, 2 applications, 2 solutions for cutting the videos, WC Sports that you mentioned. We can have one platform, okay, not to pay, 30, 40,000 per each, but to pay 60 per 2 leagues, not 80 if we would do it, let's say, separately. This kind of economies of scale brings very scarce resources that we have to our hands. And we can, of course, wisely invest into the product, produce more content that we mentioned. This is the thing. If we add today Top Liga rights to our agreements, we will be better off. Okay, Virsliga will not be better off because our agreement will not be influenced. But I don't know the numbers, honestly. I'm just thinking, knowing about the information from the market, that you are earning less today than Virsliga of the commercial revenue. It will be already better off. If we go, imagine, we produce 300 plus games together with the same quality, with the same graphics in 2 languages, but we distribute it in one single platform. So we aggregate in Lithuania, what is the population? The population, I would say
2.6.
2.6, right? 1.6 in Latvia. So it's more than 3.5 million market. Almost 4. It's 4 million.
More than 4.
Yeah, more than 4 million market. If we combine Estonia, if we say the Baltic League concept, it's 6 million market. It's the same market as Denmark. Denmark has the domestic TV deal, which is the main fuel for the league and the club's development, 53 million this year. It's impossible to replicate in our country's Denmark system. Impossible. Infrastructure, purchasing power, many things. The level of football, interest of football within the population, it's impossible. But whether there is a 5%, 10% of this commercial potential here? For sure. It is here. We know it because we discuss these things with these companies that they're buying these rights. And we know that if we have additional investment and we slightly make this product better, and we can explain to the fans, listen, for all football in the world, fans are paying. Why Premier League is earning billions? Because many fans believe that this is a good product and they're ready to pay £1,000 per season to finance. For us, it's impossible that today fans will pay 1,000 per Virsliga and Top Liga. But of course, this money could be used for better product that they would love to consume. But it's impossible. But imagine if we have one single distribution system, we collect all the Baltic League in one single platform, and we say to the fans, listen, we want to do something better for you, and it's cost now, I don't know, €5 per month to watch all the football with all the studios, all the podcasts, everything that you're paying, we promise to deliver on a higher quality. With this kind of system, now, in Lithuania, in Latvia, in Estonia, there is 0 domestic TV deal. Tomorrow, it will be 1-2 million to distribute or reinvest back into the product. This is the reality that separately, you are right. I think, and I started this conversation congratulating that you are on the right path. But you can have 16-20 millions for Kaunas or Žalgiris. It will not help you to grow domestically because the main problem is outside. Domestically, you can remain playing and you will be competitive. Where I'm thinking that the level of football is growing very fast. Because, for example, Slovakian League, they distribute every year 10 million for their clubs. In 10 years, it's 100 million. They will be better off of 100 million in 10 years than our clubs. Whether you will be able to compete, it's difficult to say. Our club Riga has 15 million budget. RFS has 5 million budget. For the last 3 years, the difference between the clubs were 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. So money doesn't play, but the professionalism, the level of scouting, the level of different things, they are working. And that's what we want to do. We want to combine these clubs. So as you mentioned, some clubs saw somebody doing better than them. They want to replicate that. The more we will connect our clubs domestically, that they can travel, they can see, they play on the biggest stadiums. For us, it's fantastic to produce the games on the Kaunas stadium, amazing, on the new stadium of Vilnius with the floodlights switched on, playing. It's almost like a first, second stage of the Champions League games. Riga FC against Žalgirių. Fantastic. We had the same experience last year when Livadia played against RFS in the Champions League, and then there four buses from Riga went to Tallinn, rented the pub, then they marched to the stadium. And this is what we can have on a normal basis. Of course, we need to work hard, like Žalgiris did yesterday. They produced event, not the game. They organized the event. And this is the goal for our clubs and the league, to do this event. The more that we'll have, the more we use it. Okay, the football is great, actually, because people are coming. Then we have guests from Riga or from Tallinn coming in, and we go to Tallinn, whether we can take the train and go to Tallinn and to visit this country. And
there are also other benefits, like, for example, the more competitive games. For example, Maksims has a lot of actually statistics from Hypercube and very interesting numbers. Maybe he can share after the podcast. So we will.
Yeah, it's too much.
But it's really interesting, and you can see some numbers and numbers. Usually numbers don't lie. For example, the transfers. If you compare from Latvia, basically every season 1-2 player moves somewhere to a good league for around €1 million, and combining leagues, you have more competitive games. Absolutely. You play against stronger opponents. And if, for example, I don't know, let's take Džiugas, for example, they go to top 4. They play against very strong Latvian, Estonian teams. And the players' value, what I want to say, that the players' value will rise more quickly. This is also a huge benefit for the clubs, because now you're playing in your league. Of course, scouting works and everybody watches all the players, but the more competitive games against the higher, let's say, maybe not higher, but the same level clubs, like when top clubs performing against each other, they will follow more, and you have a great chances to maybe make also more transfers, etc. It's really connected, because, for example,
but
the market. So
when we speak about the transfers, Latvia is way more advanced than Lithuania. I think only Kauno Žalgiris had a good run for having at least 2 transfers a year, and that's the only one club. Of course, Hegelman have 2 last year, but like consistency, only Kauno Žalgiris has that. But is that really that you can say that the competitive games is the reason why you can sell more players? Like, you know, Lithuanian market quite well. Like when you look at the Lithuanian, I think it's the short of knowledge, you know, and experience of doing that and working towards that. Because, for example, the biggest club of Vilniaus Žalgiris, like 11-time champion, they didn't have this path of working to that. The strategy wasn't on that. The previous owner just was focused on getting the Europa money. And how you can sell players when you don't focus on that, you know? So I don't know if the competitive games is the answer for Lithuania, you know, in general. I think there is way much more problems.
But no, everybody has problems. But what I want to say is that let's compare, for example, you will have games on a similar level like Champions League or Conference League first qualifying rounds. You will have just more games competing, Riga against Žalgiris against RFS, etc., or Liepaja. So it means that you have more games, more exposure, and it impacts the value of the players. There is a synergy, like you cannot deny it. It's the same that, for example, you always say, oh, listen, the summer is going to come, our club will have the games in Conference League, you know, show yourself there, and maybe somebody will take you because those games are followed more, etc. And it's true. And this is basically the same.
I agree with that.
Of course, the club also must work. If you don't have, I just will finish that. Of course, if you don't have young players, you will not sell. Of course, club also must use this.
Absolutely.
Scouting also, I think,
it's connected.
Included because now the clubs are developing with having sports directors in the clubs in the structure. I don't know if Kauno Žalgiris has a scout.
I guess so.
They are working on this direction. I don't know.
I don't think so. If they have a scout, and another thing like those competitive games. In Latvia, you have like the Riga derby is the most like competitive, but you don't have like all those competitive games, the amount of the competitive games, but you still manage to sell the players, no, and in a good level.
And can I ask you questions
compared to Lithuania?
For a
it's
discussion?
Like,
Where do you believe that, for example, for Kauno Žalgiris to have additional 8 games against 4 strong teams in Virsliga will help them more to develop than to play additional games with Riteriai, Panevežas, and so to prepare for the European competitions? Do you believe it, or you think that doesn't influence?
Yes, of course, it's a bit better to play like with the stronger teams.
So then you are better off in the UEFA club competitions, because usually you will face actually in the first rounds you might face Estonia, you might face Faroe Islands, this kind of teams. So then if you are better off in UEFA Cup competitions, your coefficient is growing, you're moving farther to the stage. So you want to play in the Conference League. So it helps you to get to the Conference League, right? Not speaking about the Europa League. Whether do you believe that playing in the Conference League attracting more scouts than not being there? Quite obvious, right? It's bringing more attention. RFS starting, put there on the map after Conference League, and they made a declaration with the Europa League. So the interest for our competition, I was speaking with one of my good friends, Alex Muzio. He's managing Saint-Joalès club from Belgium, right? This is the famous clubs that are working with the data, right? So it's a Tony Bloom partner from Brighton. We know that the Brighton has the record of earnings in the Premier League history. So this was one of the most successful commercial clubs. Saint-Joalès went in 5 years from the 3rd division to winning the title in the Belgium, selling the players to the big clubs, and they are doing quite well on the UEFA club competition, right? So they started telling me like, listen, Max, we see that in Latvia something is happening. We see from our data, the more and more the scout, and actually they bought now 3 players from our region now, so they're playing in Champions League. So the thing is that the goals then. The more we have attention from these markets, like, and we aim for the Denmark, Belgium, Extraklasse, sometimes Switzerland and Bundesliga. So the more attention we have, then logically that the goal value, for example, if we're speaking about the forwards, the most, let's say, transferred players in our leagues, the goal scored against RFS defense is much higher value than scoring against, with a full respect, against Riteriai, because they are now doing well. So this thing that scoring 4 goals or like 8 goals against stronger sides and scoring 15 goals against weaker side makes your player valuable much higher. And for us, the player transfer is super important part of the revenue. So for the last 6 years, we are positive on net transfer balance. This is also one of the key statistics that we are following. Not only we became the youngest league in the Europe, but also transfer balance. And not only like a few leagues have a positive transfer balance, right? And the thing is, what I mentioned before, there's a huge inflation effect in football because of the money, the spending that are crazy now. FIFA Club World Cup, bringing the money and all. So, and if you are not selling the players, you are not part of this, let's say, inflationary effect. For you to buy the player is much more expensive, but to sell, if you're not selling the players, you cannot bring any transfers, only free agents. Now our top clubs are making transfers. So it's impossible already to compete for the Conference League without making the transfers. With the free agents, with the world of data, AI, scouting system, it's impossible to find the diamond. It's super hard to do. But that's the idea that while bringing the best of the best together, while they're playing, you bring more attention, you bring more quality, and yes, you need to sacrifice that the smaller teams will not play against these big teams, not 4 times, but twice. But to my mind, the effect of the value is much higher than the sacrifice. And you were absolutely correct. I forgot to mention about this transfer effect. The other thing that we didn't mention, it's format, operations. We talked about the product, distribution, the effect on the player's value. And the other thing, all the surrounding things of the game. For example, refereeing. Now we not only bring our clubs together, but our now referees can go to officiate in Lithuania. Your referees can go to us. We can have a single VR system. And the referee is a big problem in general, right? So in order to bring the new people in this profession, we need to also raise the quality and the investment in the refereeing. So our referees could officiate 25, 30 times per season one club. Of course, during this time, some history are made. Maybe some, I don't know, mistake on the red card. Then the club say, I don't like this referee. They try to push on the federation, so we do something with the referee. This thing also help, to lower the pressure and to help for the referees as well to develop. And of course, to raise their payroll and so on, which is super important, right?
Okay, but I have a question, like Žalgiris is playing RFS and Lithuanian referees, like officiating. So cannot be like
now
Lithuanian referees, the Latvians will say.
Do you believe that they now influence somehow? They might be from a city, from.
Yeah, but you can create the same histories, as you say that.
Yeah, but there will be more referees. There's still. That's why I'm thinking. Another thing.
You cannot mix up the teams of referees. Yeah,
another brilliant thing about the project, why I like it, because it gives you a chance to build something from scratch. So imagine that we can actually build a structure, an organization where there will be top Liga and Virsliga and our federations as a stakeholders. And we can say, listen, this is a good moment to create a new statutes, a transparent one with the financial reporting, with everything super transparent for the fans that they see what we're doing. And let's do the same things on the refereeing matters, on other matters. Be transparent, having the marks, discussions, and then, of course, whether there is a risk of this, of course, but this is the same risk as refereeing being in your domestic competition, liking one team over the other one. I hope this doesn't happen, and I have never seen these things in Virsliga. But if you have 3 countries, there is no problem. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I can touch 2 topics, just also because I think it's also very interesting for people in Lithuania. So one, because we heard some statements that UEFA will not support this. So one topic that I think we need to talk about is UEFA, and also another one is, there was a Baltic League some time ago, and it was very bad.
That's a good point. Two things. First of all, the Baltic League of 2007, this project, which is, the name is the same, but it's a completely different idea. So it was a simultaneous competition organized without any sporting merit, without any financial merits, with nothing, just simultaneously play some cross-border competition without any motivation to do this. And of course, they had
there was motivation later.
Fixing for some
teams.
Match
fixing, and then that's what I say, that this is a completely different idea. And even with that idea, it was absolutely nonsense for me. I will never support this kind of things, but they did it somehow. They failed, obviously, and now there is mark on this everything that we talk about the Baltic. It was already there, it didn't work.
But also,
It's
have like in basketball we had that, and it was.
It's a completely different.
But still, it was
a different market.
It was a little bit better.
don't make this confusion, because football world, the structure of the football world is completely different than basketball, and it's more homogeneous. We operate in one single transfer market. We operate in one single system of national teams, club competitions. And this is very important, that if we talk about football, let's stick to the football, because then we can go and imagine, we can go to NFL and say that they play one game, and not every season they play against each other. There's for 10 years, teams might not face each other, right, in NFL. So the thing is, what you mentioned about the UEFA, first of all, these kind of decisions are made on the FIFA level, first of all. And the answer is quite simple. Now, like, few months ago, the first cross-border competition was officially approved by FIFA, and it's happening in Oceania. And actually, FIFA is investing in this competition.
Can you repeat in which?
Oceania.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yes. So it's already there. It's approved. And in Europe, we have multiple examples where the teams representing one country is playing in the other country. Like Andorra is playing in La Liga. Vaduz from Liechtenstein playing in Switzerland. Derry City is also playing another competition. So there is a multiple examples. So yes, we need to sit with the two leagues, two federations, and UEFA to discuss, because it's a very important project. Because if it will work, it will be replicated in a few places. And I know my colleagues, I know Ireland colleagues that you mentioned, they actually were trying to do the same thing with Northern Ireland, to do the same thing, absolutely. And they still want to do it. The problem was about the governance, right? That they couldn't agree on the governance. The same idea was in Scandinavia. The same idea was in Benelux countries. And actually, I received last week the information that in Benelux countries, they restarting this dialogue because of this gap that we're mentioning. They have their own gap between this top. I would say now there is a Premier League and Champions League on one shelf, then there is La Liga and Bundesliga on the second shelf, then there is a Serie A, and then there is all others. So French league is not now top 5. There is no such a concept top 5. There is top 4. And soon you will see that there will be top 3, because Serie A is lagging behind in everything that you see. Maybe this not qualifying to the World Cup actually maybe will save their football if they make the right decisions with the renovation of the infrastructure, the product itself.
I think that country is stuck in general, and it's like in past.
It's
so
true.
It's more deeper question.
Yeah.
My sister lives in Italy, so
it's
I know
reflecting
how ancient is everything there.
Yeah, I think it's a consequence of all the things, and this is actually very important. We discussed a lot with Paulius. Is that like the main problem that a lot of people don't see a cause and effect relationship, right? So this is the problem. What you do something, and then what is happening. So luckily we managed to implement the system where we have this and data and experience and benchmarks, the examples of other leagues, where we see, okay, we do this, and I can show you, for example, all the decisions that the federations made that we were against. We can prove with the data how it influenced the league, not in a good way. Because usually federations are more political and organizations, leagues are more commercial, right? They're more, for example, if we don't sell, then we don't exist. So the federations are a little bit different, but luckily for the last few years, we have a better and better communication between us. So we are finding now the common solutions. It's not always. Sometimes it's compromise, yes, because it's not 100% what we want. It's not 100% what federation wants, but I see it's better and better. So this thing is not the case. If two federations tomorrow are sending the letter to UEFA, let's discuss, let's think about it, let's make a feasibility analysis, because I'm not here to sell the idea, honestly. So if tomorrow Lithuanian clubs will say, listen, we want to go our way, and it's okay, absolutely fine. So it's just we couldn't answer the question why, right? If we can, let's consider it, but we don't suggest let's move tomorrow to this competition. No, what we are suggesting, let's having this discussion that we have today with some skepticism, with some questions of the format, of the operations, of the product. Let's have this discussion, and then maybe when we collect all the ideas, and we need to ask the fans, by the way. So I also said, I've heard this comment as well, but the fans will be against that. So wait a minute. Why are you ignoring me? I'm also a fan. I also think like a fan. I firstly think as a fan, and only then as a football executive. I would be happy to see this because, breakaway, Champions League breakaway, Premier League breakaway in 1992 was also super skeptical. Champions League 30 years ago in 1996, only champions played in Champions League. Now this year we had 8 clubs from England. Nobody says like it's not the Champions League. Why are we calling it Champions League? It's not the Champions League, right? So, and there is multiple things that change so much that seems normal today. And maybe after 2 or 3 years, we like this format so much, or this idea. They say, "Wow, why we didn't did this earlier?" Or maybe we will understand it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We need to come back. Luckily, this format easily can bring you back. Right. So, but I think for football and seeing managing the league for 8 years, you need to from 3 to 5 years to see the effect, right? Because it's lagging behind. You do something today, you make decision, but the effect will be in 3 to 4 years.
And also, it's important that new people are coming to Lithuanian football and they're willing to hear, because as Max said, it's not that we're selling or we must write something.
Yeah, we're discussing.
But
that.
everything starts
I'm
always
very
with a discussion, and
arguments,
for me, it's always a little bit strange. Also, I have some friends and some football fans. They don't know nothing about the idea and the league. Like some of them imagine that the clubs will lose, the countries will lose UEFA spots. Some of them imagine that it will be the copy-paste of this old league. They just don't understand nothing, but they're like, no, this league is impossible. UEFA will not going to accept
Openness.
it. It's going to be fixing league, etc. So this is the only thing, and the message is that the discussion always makes you better. And another thing is just is brilliant to meet new people also in Lithuanian football.
That's the idea why we discussed to come here and discuss about that, because it was like a cloud of questions.
A lot of rumors, but
because even you and me, Paulius, we chat a lot, but we never discussed. We chat about this Baltic League, but we never went to some conclusions or let's say formats, how it changed, because we heard a lot, but even the formats change. So it's very good to have a discussion. I'm just challenging you guys because I'm from a fan perspective. I truly believe that. Our league can develop more, but we have to work on many things, and especially transfers, because it's the part where all the money comes from. But format, okay, it's a matter of you like it or you don't like it. So you can discuss. Some would say it's nice. I would say in some ways it's good. From heritage side, no. But let's go to the hypothetical version, okay? Let's say 3 countries agrees on making this league, and we see 5 years of that league. You see a perspective. We have 5 years. We start the league. First year, how much money you imagine comes to the league? How it's divided? How much money you imagine after 5 years? And how it's split to lower clubs, and what is okay. I will conclude our question later. So, how much money you imagine in the beginning and in 5 years?
First of all, the good thing, it's actually the bad thing, but for us, it helps to think creatively, because today, not a single distribution is happening in our leagues, right? So our clubs are fully dependent on their either owners or municipality or some solidarity money coming from UEFA and transfer money, right? So for us, when I explain to the clubs, I usually say them the following thing. So we need firstly, you need to make investment into the product. In order to take the benefits from this league, you need to seed and you need to lay this tree while it grows. You cannot just kill the tree at the beginning. So if we want to grow in 5 years, any additional revenue that we have on top of that what we have today, anything on top, we need to reinvest. We need to make the user experience much better, both digitally and at the stadium, right? So that you enjoy. So what we mentioned, of course, a big part in this is on the club's shoulders, right? To make this event. But digitally, the product, it's already our goal. Let's say I was calculating for the 3 countries, more or less, I believe that it could be around 3.5-4 million that we can count
In the first year or like in 5
And in
years?
the first years, of course, we sign the contracts with the companies. Usually, they're exponential, so they are growing. Like now with the
So
Virsliga.
4 million is in the first year, or more likely to 450 seasons?
It's no, it's the first seasons. It's the first season, but it's very hard to say because you can earn this money if you're already in the starting position. You make some investment into the product. Okay, so now Virsliga made a big investment in digital infrastructure, so we don't need to build infrastructure from the beginning. We have our TV channel, we have our application, we have a modern web page, we have all the data from Opta, Y-Scout, everything that you need. Fantasy, score prediction, football manager, everything that you need. So we just need to add and to scale. So luckily we can use this infrastructure, and we were building it during the last 5 years, right? So we don't need this investment. When you go direct to consumer, you go B2C, right? You provide the product. You cannot predict how many people will sign up, right? How many there will be subscriptions. That's what is happening with the French league, why they were so afraid to go to the direct-to-consumer, because few years ago, 5 years ago, they had a contract with a TV company for 750 million. Today, they for the first season, they went direct-to-consumer, and they didn't know how much they can spend. The clubs didn't know how much they can spend because nobody knows. Okay, they're planning to have 155 million this season. This is a big threat, for the club. Luckily, we don't distribute today anything. We can test this idea. We can see whether we could build 10,000 people audience, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 to see how they are reacting. Because if you ask any money from your fan, you need to deliver. You need to deliver. There should be customer service. There should be a quality. Because if you produce a shitty product and you ask for money, the people will ask, why? I will not pay for this. So that's why there is a very important communication with the fans, with the stakeholders, that if we go this way, okay, we will increase the numbers through centralization with the betting market, for sure. It will be much higher because we deliver now the package of 300 plus games. But the main challenge will be this direct-to-consumer strategy, right? So, okay, maybe we can find the company, and actually, non-officially, I can make a disclaimer so that not to make a big articles, So we discussed with some OREF representatives about this idea, and one of the ideas that were like, let's say, circulating. Maybe there could be a separate funds within the UEFA that can help this kind of project, because it's a pilot project, right? It's a really pilot project that to acquire broadcasting rights and to broadcast, for example, the games on UEFA TV. Not having our application or OTT platform, but some UEFA TV, because it's already developed infrastructure. It's already there with all the subscription payment solutions and so on. But luckily, we have all the payment solutions, subscription solutions. We have it today. So we're working with a very big company, Two Circles, which is one of the best, biggest companies, agencies that helping us to commercialize also our rights. They have the full line. So we are a fully integrated league because they acquired a production company in Latvia, Sporta Centers. It's our broadcaster. So league in Latvia, production companies in Latvia. They have a company that distributing betting data. So the agency that are helping. They have OTT company that we are using, and they are a big agency that, working in the worldwide. So with many offices. So actually, we are in a very good conditions to try this idea, because we have around a very knowledgeable and experienced companies and people that are very interested in moving forward. And you see, like our clubs also played in Europa League, Conference League. But they are super excited about this. So they said, you might say everything is working. Actually, for them, it's easier to play in the local to smash these local teams. RFS and Riga for the next 5 years will be either one or the other. I don't see now how this position will change. Whether it's good for the league, in general, no. It's good for our coefficient. Estonian football it's dying.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you are interested, we touched the point on the Estonian situation in football. So for me, that the Estonian football now is in very bad shape, and we see it from the results. We when you are in the Conference League or a Champions League draw, you are dreaming of having Estonian team. Something is not good with this football, right? So we want to have this. We don't want to have Iceland right? Breidablik or other. So we don't want
Even
that.
Faroe Islands.
Yeah,
is
Faroe
getting
Islands
more
also,
competitive.
so we played against Klaksvik. It's super hard to play there. Super hard. Very
And
physical.
Torshavn, I think they played in a group stage.
There was one team.
Yeah,
But I
so
think they advanced quite far, the Torshavn team also. change in why.
why I think that the Estonian football is lagging behind even like in the Baltic states, because it took a very conservative way, limiting their pool of the players available to the clubs. Now they're changing the limit, they are increasing the pool. So actually what we did in 2018, when the new investors came in, there were more money in the league, and then we suddenly understood that, oh man, we have only like 150 players in the league, locals, like, or 200. Out of them, 10 could be like 20 might be competitive to compete on the international level. Not the problem is not going to compete domestically. Always the problem is to compete internationally as a national team and as a club. And then the huge inflationary effect happened because everybody started chasing. You needed 6 Latvians in the squad, so it means that there should be some more 6 on the bench to make all the substitutions, right? The strategy. And then the level of the players was the same, but suddenly after 1-2 seasons, the payroll, it was doubled, tripled. So this is the very bad idea, like, because of the limited pool. It's only about the economy, right? It's an economic theory. There is a high demand, low supply, the prices are going up. And this was a huge inflation. So now we have a couple of revenue sources for the clubs, and now they need to pay for the same level without any competition increase, double sum. We thought like it's a problem. So that's why it's for some leagues it's a painful. We calculate that it will help us, but we opened the market, but we introduced also a tax, additional tax, because we understood the big clubs want to compete in European competitions. Let them do it. Let them go and scout. But for every foreign player that they bring to Latvia, they have exponential tax. We collect this tax and let's redistribute to the small teams. So we will motivate. We're not saying that every team needs to have under 21 on the pitch. It's always a bad idea to put the limits on something. The good approach is to motivate. And the best motivation for any club is money, is the first thing. So we motivated these small teams to play with the Latvians under 21. And we saw this graph. It was just going down. And for the last 5 seasons, we are the youngest league, right, in terms of average age. So big clubs are happy because they compete. Average age of RFS and Riga is around 26 and a half, right? So it's actually a classical age for winning the title in absolutely majority of the leagues, right? And we had the Meta last season. Okay, they relegated. But they had 19 years old team. It's the youngest team in the world playing in the top division. It was crazy. But what's happened now, internal transfers appeared because big teams understood, there is so many youngsters. Out of them, they are good prospects. They start buying them. Okay, 30,000, 50,000. For some now, it was 150,000 for the local guys inside the Virsliga. They go to the big teams. Of course, now still, it's too early to say that our young players are ready to go abroad. Some of them going. So we had Krolis moving for 1.7 million to Serie A. Didn't happen. Okay, now he's recovering his career in Czechia. But now in Czechia, which is top 10 league, we have 4 players. It's a good result. Latvians, not so yeah. Latvian guys. We have in extra class 2 guys. So it's still slowly, but it's happening. And we have many our foreign players now in Premier League. Tolo. We have Ilic in Bundesliga. We have the guys in the second Bundesliga. And Latvian in the second Bundesliga. So we see this working. It takes time, of course, but our smaller teams are also super happy because with the increased solidarity and with this tax, they actually can be sustainable without even any sponsor, without the support of municipality, which I think is a fantastic thing that you are doing in Lithuania. And I'm in a good way very jealous of that. This support from municipalities and the connection between the clubs, communities, and
that's another question I want to discuss how the Lithuanian smaller city municipalities would look to that. For example, Džiugas is playing games only against...
Džiugas is very popular in this discussion.
Because,
we just like them.
This is a nice club.
They just invited us. So we, like one of my guys from Latvia, the coach, he's in Džiugas. He said like, you're in Tallinn's, or you're in the Vilnius, so visit us as well. So I say, for sure, I would be happy to come and to see.
Can I just to finish?
Yeah, with Estonia, we just to. Because
I just want to finish this topic that you were speaking. Also, it's important for national teams that we changed,
Absolutely.
because, for example, if I compare Lithuania youth teams and Latvia youth teams, Latvia has really great results. Like elite round now for under 19, it's basically like a standard 3-4 times in a row, and it really impacts because, for example, you take under 21 national team and all of those players.
It's like the second group, yeah.
yes, elite round.
But what I want to say is that players with Virsliga experience, they play in under 21 national team. Okay, results are not great, but we have players that really compete with the men. And one of the problems, if you compare, for example, with Lithuania youth teams, there are less young players who play in top liga, and this also, so it also shows that this helps also the federation and also the national teams and the coaches, and also we have the statistics, comparing young players, local players in Latvia and Lithuania, and there's almost double the numbers. So
we have 82,000 minutes played by Latvian under 21 in Virsliga. So the results after this change that we implemented, the percentage of points collected in the qualification stages for our under 21 team went from 14% to 36% in a few years. Because, that's what Paulius mentioned, all 90% of our players, under 21 players, they're coming from Virsliga. And they are not afraid now. We played against Italy, draw, against Turkey under 21, draw. Okay, we're not there yet, but it takes time as well, because others are not staying and watching how Latvian league will be developing, they're also investing huge amount of money into their systems.
Yeah, but when you speak about young players, I think it's always deeper discussion, about maybe you have better coaches in the youth level than Lithuania or systems, because like when we speak around U19, I think in past couple of years Lithuanian played also in the second stage, and I think they won against France, I think, also. So
of course, but
under 19 is less effect, because under 19 is still in the youth system.
They less play in the.
And we have half of the under 19 playing in Italy, in other systems. So I actually would point under 21, because here you see this cause and effect relationship. We see the change, we see the graph, our points collected down, we make a change. They get the more minutes. We see the amount of minutes growing. We see the number of points collected higher. Yes, we can say that there might be a good draw and so on. No, but honestly, more or less, all the teams are the same, because we are in the weaker pots all the time. So we play against the stronger side. So something is happening, and we need to follow it. We need to find this causes why it's happening. And we have what I like, a multi-layer discussion, because it's super interesting to discuss. We started with the Estonian league being conservative, and we came to the players, foreign player systems. So that's what I said. Like Estonian Federation doing a fantastic thing on supporting the youth system in Estonia. To my mind, this is great. They have a lot of Estonian players. They have the problem that their league is not on that level actually to make these players developing. So they need to bring good foreign players. It's hard, especially at the beginning. You need to learn where to scout, you need to develop the system. So, for example, RFS has a fantastic system of finding the players, but it was developing through 10 years, took to develop it. But they now bring the players and the fantastic players from different markets. So 46 nations playing in Virsliga. It's fantastic. We bring such guys. Now, for example, the new forward. That's crazy. To play against this guy from Panama, it's it's cool. You want to see these guys because we want to to promote them as well. And it's, of course, it should be money and value for the clubs in the future, so they will sell them, of course.
Okay, let's get
But
back.
I think the Estonia is the most interested part from all three Baltic regions. As Lithuanian and Latvians,
you could imagine that, but it's not yet there. We discussing. I was trying to make a presentation for the federation. They said no, we are not interested. We have our own way of developing football. That's what makes me sad, honestly.
The slow.
that's the
without
same.
even listening.
Yeah.
You say no without knowing what you're being offered.
That's the same what we can have here. You might agree to some things, you might disagree, but we are having healthy discussion.
Yeah.
And through the discussion, within discussion, we can find some solution and compromises and And when you don't have discussion, nothing happens. So I agree with you, Estonians. So today we are, let's say, with the results on the field and everything that we do commercially, we are much higher. Not much higher, but higher, let's say, yes?
Yeah.
We're higher. And we are sending our hand, guys, let's go together. Because we believe that going together will make better off you, us, and actually I don't divide you and us. I want to be we, right? This is the main idea, we. And when you don't have these kind of discussions, it's bad. So that's the thing that we need to be open, and that's what I like. You have such a great guys, Andrius, Mantas in the Kaunas. So it's these guys. When you speak to them, they're willing to learn, they're willing to listen, and they're willing to share. This is the great. That's what I see. That's why I like, and I once again congratulate you. So keep this system, and you are actually, by the way, you're doing a great job. What I'm also super jealous about Lithuania, the media market. And the guys like you making podcasts, being involved, having these healthy discussions, it's an enormous part of the development. Unfortunately, we don't have so many enthusiasts that doing the same thing. They are, and we are very much appreciate their work. But you are also you're a big part of that. And thank you very much. So to finish with this story, they are still not yet there, but maybe if we start together, like Latvia and Lithuania, and they will see, and we all will see the results, we hope that, and we expect that there will be a good result. They will see, okay, there's the value. Let's join. Let's come and do this thing together.
So basically it can be started by 2 leagues, let's say.
Yes, it could be started. It depends also on because the project itself looks the following. So today we have discussions. We discuss the federations, the clubs. We need to make, the 2 federations need to sign, to send the letter to UEFA saying that we want to make a feasibility analysis. I repeat, not to have the competition next year, in 2 seasons, in 3 seasons. We want to make the project itself. Then the work begins. We meet with the UEFA representatives, we meet with the independent analytical companies that produce also the data, make the simulations of the format. We make meetings with the fans, we make meetings with the clubs, and then it might take 1 year, honestly, to make a good project, to talk with all stakeholders, to find with the right format, to write with the right governance structure, to find a good strategy for a commercial product. And then at that point, let's say in 1 year, we sit once again together and say, guys, what do you think? We believe it's going to work. And the most important, the good idea could be spoiled by also the poor management. Whether we have people that are super motivated and passionate that can do this job, because it's a really complicated project, really complicated. And then we decide, either our value is more than the risks. And if it is, we can go.
And for example, if the Baltic League
you joined the conversation.
Would happen. Yeah, because you were asking the questions all the time. I didn't want to interrupt. How do you imagine the team who's working on that league? I mean, like social media, maybe maybe sales, for example. I don't know.
You mean office?
Yeah, how it would look like.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool question, because I was thinking a lot about it. And as I mentioned, for me, it's a dream to make this project very good as a benchmark to show to other football organizations how it could be done. It could be a combination, of course. We know that there is a stakeholders, and the main stakeholders is Lithuanian Federation and there is Latvian Federation. So they decide whether we are separated league or we are within the federation. So these big stakeholders need to be at the table, a part of this governance system. In our case, we're also separated league. Of course, we have the knowledge and experience, and we're representing the clubs. So I'm representing 10 clubs. When I say something, I'm empowered by the clubs to be represented. So these kind of people could be a part of this, let's say, management team, but whether it is a good idea, that I don't know. I'm speaking about the idea, but it doesn't mean that I think like I need to do this thing, right? I can do this. I have a motivation and ideas, but it should be the decision of all stakeholders, how to manage it, how the board should look like, whether there is elections, whether we represent in the board all the opinions of the small clubs, of the big clubs, okay, because the board will decide on the distributions, all these things. It's important to make a very good and transparent organization. And of course, the system of check and balances, so that there shouldn't be some crazy people. And I see in football more and more that after some years, approximately 7 to 8 years, people have the idea of the mission. they have the sense of the mission that without them, the football will die in this country, in this region or something like. Because if I'm not,
one person comes to my mind.
Who else? So that's the thing. No, you don't have to be afraid. You can be part of these processes as a consultant, as a manager, as a vice president, as an owner president, whatever. So you can be at a part. It doesn't mean that you need to be always in power. If you have a motivation and if you still have this drive, and the clubs approve this, it's okay to my mind, right? So, for example, we are a commercial entity. We are not a political entity. So, for example, I don't have a term. But after 4 years, for the first 4 years, I was not receiving any compensation. I brought to the league 2.5 million in first 4 years, and I received 0 cents. But it was my decision. Because I thought, like, if I'm starting earning the salary, we will be able to hire some communication person or to have fantasy league, and we will be like not so good at a point. After 4 years, I came to the clubs and asked myself, showing all this stuff that I did, whether you are happy, whether I can continue doing what I'm doing, and I would like to receive salary to make it my life, professional life. So from Monday to Friday, they said, of course. We are happy. So now we have such a great cooperation between the clubs because they trust what we do. We're always transparent. If they want to come and see all the finances, it's one button. We print the bank statement. They can see how we pay. I can explain to show every agreement because everything is in our office. So being transparent, open, is by far the most important thing in the governance that you can have. So I think it's difficult to say how it will look, how many people. It's just, that's why we need this feasibility analysis. And maybe we need to have some external independent company or people that can say, listen, I have this experience in this kind of project, and this is how we can create the system of check and balances, that we don't have such crazy people that can, do how they want, because I decide that we need to go that way. So. But it's one of the biggest challenges, honestly. And it's imagine how to agree. It's like let's this guy will be like, this guy.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting, yeah.
Right. Our camera guy just mentioned me that we have like few minutes left because of the hard drive or something.
Because it's almost 3 hours.
Yeah, because we're going full swing.
Need to cut in the
and it's really interesting. So just final thoughts, just few minutes and
from the top bottom teams, 6 to 10 place, for example, is there we start the league, I finished up at 8th place last year, what is the benefits for me, first year? Do I get $500,000? Do I have 300K, or do I get more money if I will qualify for the conference league? Where is the benefit for the smaller club? Because in Lithuania, for example, Džiugas again, every year we're hoping to play.
They're not the small team.
Okay, by the amount of the city, we're hoping to be in top 4 or hoping to win the cup. They aim for those goals silently, I think, and the same goes with the many clubs. So. What is the benefit for them
with the change of the format, it doesn't change their motivation to be number 4, number 3. So they can be still number 4 and they can play there. The problem is how they can make this. Without the resources, financial and human resources, they will not be able. They will be number 8 with any format, right? It doesn't matter whether they will be a cross-border for the top 4. The thing is that for the first period, I don't believe that it's possible to bring lots of money, because this is like it looks like you promise some medicine, fake medicine, we'll do this and you will be rich. No, it's not going to happen. Indirectly, they will be better off because of what we discussed, of the more value of the players, because of the more interest from the scouts. If they do good job inside the club, they will have more chances to come up and to indirectly to earn money. But of course, our goal would be, 3, 5 years, maybe 10 years, but to have these distributions to the small teams. Today, it's impossible. It's just impossible. So that's why the beauty of this project, that it brings, you don't risk with anything, right? So in terms of the money, if we say, so today is 0, tomorrow it might be something, right? So, but it depends on a lot of factors, how we distribute, the governance, so these kind of things. So if you ask my teams, all the teams, all voted, 10 out of 10 voted for the feasibility analysis. They didn't vote for the competition. And trust me, we have small teams that they completely understand what they are losing with these big teams, what they were getting, and all of them, because we talk a lot. We talk a lot what is happening in the world of football. We are a very active league in terms of the football politics, right? We have very good relationships with the big leagues, with the small leagues, every league. So we are part of the discussions on the solidarity money. So we know we fight for the solidarity, which a lot of leagues are not doing at all. We are super proactive on these topics. So we help some organizations to do like work with the football organizations, with the International World Leagues Association, where I represented all the leagues all over the world, like Ecuador and Uzbekistan and Australia. So we have quite a lot of information that we're sharing with the clubs, and they say, okay, yeah, this makes sense. But honestly, about this project as well, you need to repeat time to time. You need to repeat it. It's good that we will have this podcast that everybody will
send to everybody.
Send to everybody. Yes.
Somebody will be angry. Somebody will be happy.
You will have like timestamps, and you can send like answers from this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Because after 6 months, we had the situation when the clubs we touched this topic on the Baltic League, and one of our clubs said, no, we will lose this UEFA spots. We don't want. No, it's a great. So, okay. You voted 6 months ago to have a feasibility analysis. We go once again through the presentations. Yes. Yeah, we're for this. We're for this. So you see, sometimes even your clubs, because this is our job. We think about it from Monday to Friday, from the morning till the evening, because we are working this. For some people, it's just, it's Baltic League, it's a project, it will not work. Or somebody will say, it will work. The trust that we have from our clubs and the knowledge that we have, this is the biggest asset that we can have. And that's why we are doing this job. And we only want from our clubs and the stakeholders believe in us, saying that if these guys, look, they did actually a good job. Like, yeah, with Virsliga, they grew, they started from nothing, they built the club, they built the league. Let's trust these guys. Maybe they know something that we probably today not understanding or not feeling, right, this one. And then we will already retrospectively, we can sit together and say like, listen, no, Max, you were incorrect. Or good job, Max, you did a good job. So.
Of course, probably we had questions from the contributors, yeah. But
I
hope we managed to answer.
I think many topics were answered already.
Yeah, we will put Max on Discord and make separate topic.
Always, I'm in the groups with the fans on WhatsApp, so I'm super open. Anyone can write and ask the questions. I'm happy. Of course, it's good when it's centrally that everybody can see, write the comments and express.
How Discord works.
And it's cool that if they share all the skepticism or optimism about it, because it's interesting to see their fans and it's the main stakeholder in football. Without the fans, there is no football. It's a public good, and everything is done for them.
One of the most random questions that were left, and I just wanted to ask was like something: who Crimea belonged to? And what do you think about FC Riga owner or something like that? Just give me a second.
You're asking Ukrainian who's the Crimea?
Yeah, that was
one of the questions from for the.
So I'm Ukrainian, by the way. So but I have relatives living still, so it's a terrible thing. But it's Riga FC. I think. This is a topic was already touched I think in Delphi or in Lithuania, and I was approached by the journalist. And I always say my approach is the following way. So first of all, as a Virsliga, what we do, we have 10 clubs. We are an association of 10 clubs. What is happening with the clubs, how they finance, where the owners, it's very difficult for us to evaluate because we don't have the just information. There is the government. There is EU law on international national sanctions. There is tax authorities. The federation with the UEFA that is checking all of the towns. And I don't have, reasons not to trust to the process. If I would see that there is a room for a corruption or for something, then I can say, listen, I feel something. Because for me, no problem to say when something like I believe not working well. Now what I see, FC Riga owners, they're coming through all the checks and these balances. They invest a lot of infrastructure. They invest in the players. They bring joy to the fans. And I don't see the reason now, because I haven't heard any statement from the owners, whether like if we talk about related to some conflict, this war, I've never heard. I don't know whether they engaged with they're paying taxes there. And so I don't have this information, honestly. But what I see, what they do for football, I can only say the people that coming to our meetings, super professional. They love football 100%, and they're doing a great job. That's what I can say as a
I think that kind of question is because many people are concerned that if, for example, Lithuania joins the Baltic League, that many Russian money would be there. And as we saw in Lithuania, we are very skeptical, and there's big no either way if it would help or not. But if it's a Russian, it stinks, and that's why it's kind of sensitive.
There's this narrative that there's like Russian money in Latvian football.
Yeah, I've heard this.
From Freud came from Vilma also. You've heard.
Yeah. I think it's let's say then let's be honest. We don't trust our institutions, right? So the guy that you are mentioning that the being sponsoring, he can he can travel to Lithuania. He's not able to travel to Latvia, which nobody knows why, honestly. He can travel in all EU countries, not Latvia, and nobody has information. If we would have information, why? Then explain. But that's the thing, that we can speculate, and we can speculate on many things, whether who is supporting aggressor country or who is doing something bad in their private life. It's a speculation.
Yeah.
If we trust into the process, we need to trust, or we need to vote for such representative in our parliaments, that make sure that there is no any cent is coming to the aggressor country or somehow related to that. If we don't trust the process, that's the way. But to speculate, yes, it's possible to have this discussion, but I think we need to concentrate on very positive things that we can bring with this project, that we discussed a lot of things. And if we concentrate on these things, I think everyone will be happy and seeing our national teams. Honestly, I was too young in 2004 to see Latvia playing in the Euros. And damn, I feel sorry that I couldn't appreciate and understand how big thing this is. Sorry, because now, I don't think it's possible now for us. Okay, only if they increase the number of teams to 40, or just don't have the qualification, let's have Euros, and that's it. But it was amazing thing, and now when I watched the game replays and I'm also UEFA delegate, so I was working with the referee. The referee was against Germany and Latvia when we took a point, and I was telling, man, there was a penalty. If there were the VR, there was a penalty. Marius Pakovskis was running, and there was a penalty. And to have this discussion, so it made me like a cry. You really had the tears in my eyes watching that games. Honestly, it's like such a proud. But we'll see. Let's try to do everything possible. Whether I would be happy to do it together, whether it's possible to do separately. But I wish the luck and everything only good for you guys, and the same for us. And let's see where the future will bring us. But honestly, thank you very much for this discussion, and thanking for your opinions. It's just cool stuff, and you're always welcome in Riga on the Riga derby, on other games to see how we do it. So it would be
we had a chance
Thank
to
you.
be against RFS against Ajax.
Great experience.
Good experience.
23rd of January, 10 p.m.
Yes.
Raining.
Oh, wonderful.
The stadium without the roof. Yes.
They
were
in VIP, so
actually, the last thing on this topic, while we working together, it's also a very powerful lobbying tool, because when you can show, listen, we play like RFS or Riga coming to Kaunas and playing on this nice arena with the production level, high floodlights. We can come to our government and say, listen, guys, this is 5,000 people came. Maybe 10,000 in a few years will come. So this is a good.
Maybe it's time to build a stadium.
Yeah, maybe it's time, because it helps. It's a part of the community. We are for cultural events. We need to build the theaters, operas, and so on. And the same as sports, ice hockey, basketball, because it's super important. It's the export, but it's also the sense of pride and emotions. But it's another point for that.
Right.
Okay, I have some more questions, but let's leave it for the next time. I think
we can
arrange
rerun it after a while.
We will have occasion on July. We will tell you after the filming. We'll have a huge occasion. We will ask a lot of guests to come, so I think we can continue this
Guys,
discussion after
with
2
your
months.
hospitality in Lithuania, staying here for 3 days, okay, it's damaging a little bit health, but you are doing a great job. Thank you for your hospitality always. Always a pleasure to come.
Great. So it was nice to have you guys. It was a good discussion.
Thank you for your time
It's very good.
and for your answers. I think many people have now a different opinion than they had before opening
And they
it.
probably will have more answers because
Yeah.
it's a huge topic, you know.
Yeah.
As you said, it's very in finding the answers in many questions. So
It's a
they
huge
will bring
one.
more questions,
Yeah,
I think, when you speak about feasibility, you know. So and I will finish up in Lithuanian about the partners and etc. So tai keista dabar persijungti.
Visai kitas dalykas.
Tai ką, gan ilgas podcastas mums čia gavosi, tikrai pratęsim šitą temą, manau, dar kažkada ateityje, tai dar kartą dėkui mūsų naujiem draugam Brite'ui, tai Padkastas, britedrinks.com, 25% nuolaida, tai išmėginkit, paragaukit, ten galima užsisakyti pekais, tai pasimkit vieną kitą skonį, tada meeting room mūsų draugai, irgi keliausim dabar pas juos, jeigu dar mūsų rezervacija laiko staliuką, nes biškiai užsivėlinom, tai apsilankykit būtinai, įvertinkit, pareitinkit ir mums tas yra svarbu ir aišku prisidėkit prie On Tour, bandom iškeliauti dar vieną kokybišką išvyką ir paduoti gero turinio, tai prisidėkit prie turinio kūrimo, tas mums labai svarbu, tai ačiū Pauliui, ačiū Maksui ir ką, pratęsim dar futbolo diskusijas ateityje.
Čiau.
Dėkui, čiau.
Savaitgalio LKL rungtynių transliacijų rėmėjas Top Sport.